Hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know how loud
I can't
it
hear.
is.
Oh, there it is.
I can hear you.
All right. So I guess we're. Wow.
We're live.
I'm glad we got that test out of the way.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
Anything to aid his campaign. I mean, I don't support him.
No, I know. Make sure you get that on camera, right? No, but you don't get that interview.
That's not what bigotry means.
You just get that on camera.
That's
right?
not what bigotry means.
The media wants to
That's not what bigotry means.
Why don't you get it on
Educate
camera?
yourself.
Why don't you get it on camera instead of editing?
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Instead of editing his $1 million a month anonymous Feed the Children donations. Why don't you get that on camera?
Why don't you wait?
Why don't you get on camera that he recruited immigrants to help him build towers so he could put them up? Oh, you don't get that on camera, right? This is what you get on camera. This is what you get on camera, right? And you edit it accordingly. You wait until they bait him, and then you edit it, right? You don't include the fact that we have an awesome president now who took a step down from unappreciative motherfuckers. Okay? Unappreciative.
What's your
okay?
name? So I got it.
None of you damn. Oh, you'll edit it. You'll edit it and portray it as something totally different than what it really is, right? So you're not getting my name. You're getting a you. You don't give it. You don't give it as it really is. You don't give it or portray it as it really is. A good man with a good, awesome heart that traveled the world feeding the kids. You mother.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. That is awesome.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio. Your host, Brian Smith, and
Carrie Smith.
just laughing it up this evening.
Wow, she was emotional, and that was awesome. And I call me unprepared, but that was the first time I heard that.
Yeah, well, fantastic. I got that off Twitter. That is a random Trump supporter. She was wearing a Trump T-shirt, carrying a Starbucks coffee that said Trump on it.
Oh, okay. We need to talk about this Starbucks situation, but yeah, we'll get into that.
Okay, so you're listening to Smith Radio, smythradio.com. If you go to our website, you can see all our feeds. You can see everything from Twitter to Facebook, also Breitbart's feed and Matt Drudge's feed as well. Listen to us every Sunday evening, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you want to be a part of the show, you got something to say, something to get off your chest, we use this airway as therapy for ourselves to kind of get through and understand all the leftist, loony, liberal talk. And give us a call, 513-888-1538. Follow us on Twitter at Smith Radio, on Facebook.com/Smith Radio. And our YouTube channel is blowing up. Have at it. It's all kinds of great stuff. YouTube.com/Smith Radio.
Well, hey, can we go ahead and give them a happy Thanksgiving, since we won't be back on until after that, right?
That is absolutely correct.
So happy Turkey Day to everybody as you listen to this all week.
Remember what Thanksgiving is all about. Do not forget for one split second. Thanksgiving was all about the American pilgrims that realized capitalism saved their lives and created the greatest country human beings have ever seen. Thanksgiving was to give thanks to God above, and invited the Indians to partake in their blessings from God, and how they almost went down the wrong road. They went into a commune type situation originally. Everybody started dying off, things started falling apart. And then they realized that wasn't working, and pretty much installed capitalism. And by the sweat of their brow, their own hard work, created a phenomenal country called United States of America.
Absolutely, 100%. Yep, and that's the thing that you need to realize. This is not about genocide of an indigenous people. A lot of people, we've talked about this a million times on maybe not a million. Got to be accurate here. I don't want Politico.
999,998. Right. This will be 99. We're one away from a million now.
Oh, okay. All right. So one away from a million. And that is that, the thing about Europeans coming to the New World to find a better life and whatnot, there's going to be a little bit of, some friction between the indigenous people. Sometimes they get along. Sometimes they did get along. Sometimes they were friends and allies and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it didn't work out so well and, fighting happens and whatnot. And what you have today, which is pretty much an entire continent void of the original, I don't want to use the word original, but the indigenous people of that era are pretty much wiped off the face of the entire continent. Sounds like, if you didn't do any research, that sounded like a genocide must have happened.
Oh my goodness, you went to another country and wiped them all out? What were you thinking,
What do you mean
man?
by country?
Right. Because, they literally roamed the land as nomads. And their culture, their society, did not mix with our culture and our society.
They were incompatible. And
Correct.
the reason is, a lot of people, what do you mean? Whatever happened to tolerance? Right? Like the white people must have been intolerant or something like that.
There's a gym that is, their commercial on the radio is, we are in a tolerant era.
Right.
And preaching tolerance. Come to our gym and work out. Oh, it's tolerance.
You don't have that commercial queued up?
Dude, I am so done with this tolerance thing.
Right.
Go ahead.
Gym-timidation is what
Yes, that's what it is. So you heard it too.
Of course. We don't gym-timidate you.
Oh my
so anyway, no, it's not about intolerance. It was about the fact that, for thousands and thousands of years, when different peoples, different cultures go to war, there's a winner and a loser. And usually the loser, their culture gets wiped out or moves away. Okay?
Correct.
And the reason that they're not compatible is because I've been told in school. So I'm going to get off on a sidetrack a little bit here. Isn't it funny how so much was made of using Wikipedia as a source? Because it's not really 100% proven. It could be hearsay. Somebody could write anything. It could be totally wrong.
Especially if you are part and parcel of the liberal media and you're part of that game, then you can on Wikipedia write something down and it'll stay. It won't be removed.
Right. Unfortunately, that happens to be a case. But now that is the case with public education. If you heard something in your school that was written on textbooks approved by Common Core and the left communists who have taken over the Department of Education, you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt. And I actually teach my daughter that. I'm like, yeah, I know you read it in that book called Journeys, where there's a giant thing at the top that says Common Core in bold font.
Right.
A Common Core curriculum book. That's when you got to say, now I know you read it in there. That's why you have to assume that at least part of it is not true. Automatically, right off the bat. But anyway, so what I heard in school was that the indigenous people didn't believe in owning property. Like, people can't own property, right?
Right.
Well, the problem is that that's what the people from Europe kind of came over and established,
Right.
at least in their culture. And there's reasons for this. In order to cultivate land and turn it into a farm and grow crops, you have to have borders. Like, this is my farm. This is where I work to create food for everybody, for the town, for my neighborhood, for my family or whatnot, right? And without borders on those properties, then an adjacent farmer or person or whatever could just show up and say, oh, isn't that awesome that all this corn's growing here?
Yeah, I'm just going to walk on in and have, hey, you know what? I feel hungry. I'm going to get me some of that.
Right. And by the way, I got a big giant family at home and a bunch of friends in the town where I'm from. I could really enjoy this stuff, and then just start harvesting it. Even though the farmer who owns the land, if you will, did the work to grow that stuff and to water it and to fertilize it and all that kind of stuff. So that's why it's important. Everybody, these people that live in the city, we call liberals. They don't understand property because they own a little tiny piece of property on top of somebody else's property called an apartment. And they just don't get it, that it is important, that borders for your property and land rights, property rights really are important. Somebody put the work in to build that tenement you live in.
Right. Well, no, without property rights, you wouldn't have the greatest nation in the world, America.
Right. It all boils down to the foundation that turned into a capitalist free market society.
And don't think that we wouldn't have taught the Indians to do what we're doing in order for them to be successful as well.
I guarantee you that there were people that did try to do that. And I would imagine that there were probably Native American Indians that were like, you know what? I'm not buying into this at all.
Oh, those are the Indians that own the casinos now.
Right. Oh, by the way, I think we just waltzed right in there, right? No property. Oh, yeah.
Do they own the casino in Cincinnati?
No.
Oh.
There's no.
Because we were walking in there last night.
Right, but
I slipped on a banana.
It's not a reservation or anything.
You mean Cincinnati's not a reservation?
I'm shocked that there isn't a reservation here because if you know, there's a lot of American history that's either glossed over or not taught at all in school. And the Ohio River is there's a big
Natural
history.
Border. But yeah, absolutely.
It was the border back in the colonial days between Great Britain, which would be part of 13 colonies, and what the British decided to leave for the Indians. There was a treaty between Britain and whatever Indian tribes were up in Ohio that said we will never cross this river and settle on this land if you just leave us alone. Well, settlers didn't know anything about that treaty.
No.
They were crossing the river and settling. Well, then the Indians were like, hey, your government way over there across the pond, made a treaty with us. What are you doing here? And then, of course, there was murdering and all that kind of stuff, or at least warring of some sort between these settlers that didn't know what was going on. I mean, how would they get the news out there? They're just in frontier land. So, yeah, the Ohio River. So that being said, Cincinnati's right there across the river.
They didn't have a good Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, their Wi-Fi was just terrible. They got that little spinny thing.
Oh, it wouldn't stop spinning.
Yeah, so they didn't get the message.
So this hour brought to you by Planet Fitness.
Hey, can I get the bathroom key?
Sure thing.
Oh, no way.
Return it when you're done.
Oh, so...
And that's why I don't like gyms.
Well, Matt, we're not a gym. We're Planet Fitness.
Comfortable environment, spacious locker rooms, no gym intimidation. Only $10 a month. We're not a gym. We're Planet Fitness.
Well, how much do they pay us for that?
The checks in the mail?
Well, since we're making fun of them...
Oh,
because I could see the look on Brian's face right now. He is appalled by this.
I get it. I understand where they're coming from, and they're appealing to a very small fraction of people. That the people that work out on a regular basis. That's their life.
Right.
They're addicted to working out.
Mm-hmm.
They look good, and don't get me wrong. There's always
the lunkheads.
Yes, there's always that knucklehead that you hear across the room. 99.
Oh, that when I go there, that's the bathroom. 99. Oh my God.
Who does number 2 work for?
There you go. You should have that queued up too, man. One of these days, we're going to be professional in our production.
Yeah, as the professionality just slides right on by. No, but, you've got the knuckleheads, you've got the guys, but it's a regular routine. I used to work out religiously.
Did you scream like that?
No, but there's a little bit of grunting sometimes. But you get to know the same people that show up the same time every day, and it naturally becomes a clique. Not on purpose, but by human nature.
Well, you're not allowed to have cliques.
So if
that's
illegal
in America.
In a clique, I mean, like the same people every day. You say, hey, Joe, hey, Mary, hey. And everybody kind of knows each other at that hour, at that time. You show up at a different hour during the day, it's a different set of people.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're the outsider. Well, if this is your first time working out and you don't make an effort to get to know people or make an effort to stick with it.
Gosh, I'm sweating just listening to you.
If you don't make an effort to get with it, you'll
so
never.
Intimidated. I'm triggered right now.
I feel your trigger.
Well, what if you show up and there's a bunch of lunkheads there, and you want to be a lunkhead, but you haven't achieved lunkhead status yet because you've suffered a flabalanche.
Well, then you start at ground level, and that is referred to as
swamp donkeys.
Oh, what? What?
We're going to get to that in a minute.
Oh, swamp donkeys. Yes, that is going to be in the next hour or whatever. Oh, yeah. What a great day. So why is it so great? We got transition going on, don't we?
We got a huge transition. Trump is transitioning his transition team, headed up by none other than the famous, or some people call him infamous, Stephen K. Bannon.
Yeah, that's a guy who was one of the editors or founders, or what was he with Breitbart?
One of the head guys with Breitbart.
Right.
Really, really good friends with Breitbart.
So because of how far right he is, he's clearly a racist, a bigot, homophobe, misogynist, and the leader of the Nazi Party.
You heard that too?
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, he's. Let me. Laura Ingraham, who is slated to be maybe part and parcel somebody on Trump's transition team. She hasn't fully accepted it, but rumors have that Laura Ingraham may play a part in it. And this is Laura Ingraham.
Really?
Yeah.
That's breaking news to me too.
It's huge. Laura Ingraham on Fox and Friends in the morning, and this is her rant on who the hell Bannon really is.
Okay.
This is what I really hate most about Washington, is this type of smear campaign that I saw going back to, Justice Thomas. I mean, when they see someone as an ideological threat or someone who could be very, very powerful, advancing a conservative message, close to a principle or actually in a principal position, there are the piranhas that will circle around. They hope to get a little blood in the water, and then they hope for the big, the big fish to come in and kill them off. Steve Bannon is a wonderful person. He's someone who, if you're not feeling well, he'll pick up the phone and say, how you doing? How are your kids? What's going on? And he's also happens to be really smart. I mean, that merry band of small, the small band of merry warriors over there at the Trump campaign, they pulled off the upset of the century. Yep. And there's a lot of sour grapes in Washington, D.C. There are a lot of envious people. I get that. But do not besmirch someone who is a patriot. He's a good man. He's smart. And he's dedicated to improving this country.
This is painful. Yeah. And this really and truly hurts.
Oh, man.
I had a loyal listener that talked about last week's show and said that that they enjoyed our show last week.
Okay.
And the sound bites of what's her face? Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, of
they
course.
loved it. It was a back and forth. Folks, you've got to go back to last week's show.
Yeah, all the shows. Really. Listen, I mean, we've had so many awesome shows. What about the one right before the election? The last one before the election, we had all those great guests on.
Oh,
awesome.
Yeah. No, definitely.
So,
but there you go, Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
Phenomenal leader.
And I trust Laura Ingraham.
Oh, absolutely.
She was the first, when I first started listening to talk radio on a daily basis, she was one of the ones that had a 3-hour show on.
Okay.
And it's a shame that she got taken down and replaced with something else. Some other show may have even been Glenn Beck's show, because I remember she was on early. And we didn't even have Rush Limbaugh for a while here. Rush Limbaugh came on later, or maybe he was on a different channel or what. I don't know. But as soon as they made him a regular part of the program here locally in Cincinnati, I was so happy because he's by far the best one. But Laura was good too, so I definitely trust her. And for her to say so much good about Bannon, I think speaks volumes of him. And I think that the attacks on him about whether he's a racist or a homophobe and all that kind of stuff obviously are just blind attacks. And I'm going to tell you right now, we've said this a million times, and if you follow me on Twitter, which is @SmithRadio, you will already know that this election was won for Trump by Democrats and the never Trumper people who keep calling innocent, patriotic people racist.
Right.
Who are not racist. I'm talking just normal, everyday people who try their hardest to not be racist and all this. They've been called racist their whole life because they're white. They're born racist in the eyes of these racist Democrats and leftists because they're this color of their skin, and they try so hard. Brian's even told me stories himself about how he goes around. Everybody, all of us. If you have white skin, a vast majority of us have gone out of our way to let minorities know that we're not one of those guys. We know that most white people are racist because that's what we're told, right?
Well, yeah.
We've been told how racist white people are, but that's not me.
No.
And I want you to know that I'm one of the good guys. But guess what? We're all doing that.
Yeah.
We're all doing that. We're all in this false belief, thanks to the liars in mainstream media, the liars in the Department of Education, teaching our kids how bad white people are because of how poorly they treated black people for the past 400 years, that we're a bunch of racists, and every white person who's not racist thinks that the rest of them are, and they're going out of their way trying to prove to everybody else that they're not racist. Well, guess what? The cat's out of the bag. I think that most people this year are like, wait a minute. It seems like the racism amongst whites happens in a very tiny minority of people. Really tiny number of whites who are just outwardly racist.
What about the KKK, Carrie?
I would say that there's a good chance that the members of the KKK... And here's the cool part about that.
We had a friend that said, hey, the KKK's everywhere.
Oh my gosh, that's what I was about to say. He just stole it from me. I'm telling you right now. Here's the thing about the KKK.
We've been doing this so long, we think alike. That's all it is.
Okay, so here's what we're talking about. Let me get y'all up to speed on this. The KKK is the boogeyman they keep talking about, and they try to make it sound like most whites are members.
Well, yeah.
Or like it's this giant organization. And when somebody like David Duke comes out, by the way, is there any other members besides KKK or besides David Duke? I kind of feel like it's an organization that comprises of one person, David Duke. Who the hell is a member? Who's out there saying, I'm a member of KKK? Who's showing their card saying that they are a member of KKK, except for David Duke and Robert Byrd, who's dead now, but and all of his friends maybe. I don't know. Democrats.
If you have seen a KKK member, please give us a call.
Yeah.
Give us a heads up. Tell us where they're at.
DM me on Twitter or just tweet it out. Say, hey, Smith Radio, they're a bunch of ignorant people. Everybody I know is in KKK. I don't know. I mean, what is this? It's this mythical organization. And it did exist back in the day. It was called the Democrat Party.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
We have a winner.
And guess what? When the Democrat Party decided, well, you know what, we should tell all of our members to go ahead and actually exit the KKK.
Right.
Except for some of them, and we'll just act like they aren't, even though they are.
Right.
When that happened, the KKK went away.
Oh.
And then they started acting like, well, see, since so many white people are in the Republican Party, clearly they're the KKK now.
They are the KKK.
We've never been the KKK. What the hell are they talking about?
The Republican Party was actually the party to put down slavery, to put down the KKK, to stop this stuff.
We're the party that ended slavery.
Correct.
And the very same thinking and ideology that went into the Republican Party foundation, which is Lincoln coming along being the first president of the Republican Party, the thinking of abolition actually has its roots all the way back to the founding. If you look at Thomas Jefferson, he was he tried to write into the Constitution the kind of words that would kind of make it unconstitutional to own slaves. And like you've heard a million times before on this show, it was a couple of members of Congress in 2 states, South Carolina and Georgia, who said they did not want to unify under a United States if we put the words into the Constitution that would abolish slavery. And so Thomas Jefferson had to make the decision to change around the words in order to make sure that South Carolina and Georgia were on board with us. But if you read the Constitution, by the way, did you also know, I learned this from Glenn Beck. I know everybody hates him and all this kind of stuff, but I listen to his serials, and his serials are brilliant. I think they're great. You can hate him all you want. I truly think that his behavior with regards to Trump is pretty much unforgivable for the most part, but you got to go and listen to his serials. I never knew this, but Frederick Douglass, who was alive during the founding of our country, said, we're not going to be on board with this Constitution thing at all.
Wow.
And guess what they did? They handed it to him and said, this is what it is. Read the whole thing. Study it. And he went, took it home, got the old candle, lit up the candle, started reading it, studied it, read it, memorized it, whatever, and came back and said, wow, this is awesome. We're on board with this.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I was looking, do a little homework real quick.
Okay.
Thaddeus Stevens.
Okay.
He was a congressman, and he fought tirelessly to end slavery around Lincoln's era.
Okay.
And the movie Lincoln, Tommy Lee Jones played him.
Oh, okay.
And so the whole time during the movie, you see Tommy Lee Jones fighting the Democrats. And
right.
It was 100% Republicans all in favor of abolishing slavery versus 100% Democrats needing to enslave. And at the end of the movie, you see Tommy Lee going home, and he climbs into bed with his woman, who was black.
Well, there you go.
Thaddeus Stevens had I don't know if it was his wife, his slave. Probably, and don't get this wrong, folks. The word slave, depending on who you were, meant different things. And that might have been Thaddeus Stevens' slave. However, he treated her as a wife, and the only way that he could have her around without breaking the law would maybe to have papers on her.
Okay.
In a sense.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Just like George Washington. My children read a book about George Washington. It was propaganda.
Really?
About George Washington.
Of course. They're all learning this stuff.
Well, how he treated his slaves as if they were his children.
Oh, and so I see where you're going with this. So it's an insult to the black race by treating them as your children.
Oh,
but then again,
I didn't mean it like that. I meant it with care and consideration and affection.
Oh, so it was propaganda for
the good.
Okay,
to show my kids, and they even said, "Dad, you wouldn't believe it when the levee broke. George Washington, he was the first one to dive in there and roll up his sleeves and start to." Get to work and make it happen. He'd work side by side with these folks.
Here's another thing. One of the biggest arguments against America with regards to slavery, which I don't know how we got on this subject, but that's okay. Everybody needs to know. And we've said this before, but Thomas Jefferson owned slaves, and that was a huge... the writer of the Declaration of Independence was a slave owner, right? Okay. Did you know that it was illegal for him to free his slaves?
What?
Yeah, it was totally illegal, and the reason it was illegal was because you could not... The only way you could free your slaves and just say, all right, you're free, is if you were without any debt. And he died with debt.
Right.
He was in debt his whole life, and, it is what it is.
So to bring this around, we talked about Thanksgiving coming up this week. We talked about the founding of this country and how incredibly great it is and how incredibly great we still are. We are talking about Steve Bannon. Laura Ingraham may accept a press secretary.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes,
I like that. And she
is a woman that my daughters must read her books and must look up to a woman like that.
I could definitely see her being a role model for women everywhere because, I was always thinking, Ann Coulter, make her the press secretary, because I want to see her just blast the media for 4 years straight. Like, she should have press conferences just to troll the media for no other reason. Have nothing else to say but to pretty much troll them. Because that's the kind of person she is, and I think it's great. We need that. But Laura Ingraham is more like, hey, look, I'm not going to take any crap, but I'm going to be professional. And that's exactly how she is.
And let's hope she stays that way. Media matters for America. And see, we're talking about the nation coming together, Trump healing the nation, Trump putting together his transition team, and the left losing their mind on every single pick, every single person that Trump is talking to or talking about. The media is losing it because these are people that just might make America great again. So Media Matters comes out and says 17 of the worst attacks potential Trump press secretary Laura Ingraham may face. Number 1, Ingraham. Mexicans have come here to murder and rape our people.
Oh, no. Okay. She said that?
That's what they're claiming. They also say that she suggested deported immigrants attempting to re-enter the country should be shot.
Really?
That's what they're
claiming?
Yeah. So and then we talked about the racism and slavery and where this all comes from. It's black and white, folks. It really is black and white. It is good versus evil. Good would be Trump, conservatives, religious Christians who are freedom-loving individuals, personally responsible for their actions, versus the Democrats who are not responsible for a damn thing and want to suppress and enslave people, whether it be physical enslavement, shackles and chains.
I can give you an example.
Or even mental slavery.
I think that they love that they can charge almost an entire lifetime worth of income for college. That way you end up having to work your ass off for the rest of your life just to pay it off. And that's like a de facto slavery.
The word mortgage for a home comes from mortician, comes from it's a debt for life mortgage.
Okay.
And literally they're saying, well, that's not enough. We need you to be shackled with this other debt as well. We will keep you in the ground, on the ground, until you die, and then we'll put you in the ground.
Yeah, we don't want to put you in the ground until we squeezed all the blood out of you. Yeah. Right. No, I mean, if you look, mortgage is one thing, and home ownership is the American dream, right? And somehow the liberals have turned college education into a American dream. And for a short while, definitely for the baby boomers, it was. But it's turned into the American nightmare because it is the education camp, and they make you pay the rest of your life for your propaganda that you've been brainwashed into.
The producer just whispered in my ear the full definite mortgage equals in Latin death pledge.
Wow,
you pledge to the death.
That's terrible.
You pledge this debt to death.
Well, I'm glad. I guess in 15 years I'm supposed to be killed, right? They just take you out and shoot you.
Time to rethink your mortgage.
Time to get a second mortgage.
Oh, man.
Oh, that means they kill you twice.
Yeah, you couldn't pay it off in 2 lifetimes.
They kill you and then they resurrect you.
Bring you back, make you do it again.
Either that or it's like a Weekend at Bernie's situation.
And we are going to get to Hillary Clinton a little bit later on.
Man, haven't we? Are you going to resurrect that corpse?
No. The Grim Reaper showed up.
Okay.
Full gear.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Anyway, so we're talking about this. This is the thing that they want to keep you enslaved in. Capitalism will help you higher incomes, better businesses. Things are just booming, and you'll be able to pay off your mortgage. It won't be a debt for life. If you want it the way the Democrats want it...
It won't be a death pledge.
Yeah, if you want it the way the Democrats want it, you will stay down, you'll be burdened, low wages, low income, high unemployment, people on welfare like you've never seen before. And then on top of that, you're going to have student loan debt you've got student loan debt $100,000, you've got a mortgage at $100,000, and you're barely making ends meet. Fuel's up, cost of food's up, and yet wages stay stagnant for the last 10 years.
Yeah, that we're not humanity's not making progress the past 20 years.
Unless you ask Obama.
I mean, think about it.
Unless you ask Obama.
Right. Well, that's called lying.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, yeah, that's what we hear when we listen to them. But think about this. Go all the way back to the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. Go pretty much the founding of the country from 1780s all the way up till today. There's just been this steady progression of an increase in standard of living. And there has been when you consider that, we have cell phones now that pretty much are like personal computers attached to us at all times.
Obama phone.
Obama phone. Oh, you don't have that queued up, Mr. Producer?
Yeah, Obama phone.
If you had hit that right as I said. Okay, so you got your Obama phone, right? And that's like the only increase in standard of living. The wages have pretty much been going up all these years. Just everything has been increasing standard of living wise. And then all of a sudden we hit the 90s. And I'm telling you right now, The Matrix, man, they had something right. 1999. That was the year.
The first one, the first Matrix.
The other ones aren't The Matrix. I don't consider.
My brother and I together saw that in the movie theater. I remember
the
first one to this day.
Everybody talked about it, and I was like, what's so great about this movie? They're talking about The Matrix. What are they talking about? So I ended up seeing it late. But anyway, they kind of predicted a little bit of the truth by saying that 1999 was picked to be the year that The Matrix was made for because it was the peak of civilization.
Obama.
You got Obama phone?
Yes, everybody in Cleveland, low minority, got Obama phone. Keep Obama in president,
What? No, I don't know.
No, so you're saying 99 was the peak?
That's what they said in the documentary called The Matrix.
Well, apparently they didn't have Obama phones back then in 99. This is the peak right here.
2009?
2012.
Oh, that was
2012.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right. That was the year that they were making fun of Obama for, he makes America great by giving Obama phones to people who wouldn't be able to afford it otherwise.
Free stuff, right?
Free stuff. I mean, we can survive and live and be productive and prosperous and happy without cell phones.
You would be more productive.
Exactly.
If you earned it on your own. Make that happen.
Well, you'd be more productive if you didn't play Clash of Clans 12 hours a day.
Whoa. I don't know who's doing that.
So, yeah, it's just weird. You drive through the ghetto and you see every single tenement apartment has a satellite sticking off of it.
Oh, that's what we were driving through it yesterday.
Yeah.
We were up through Indianapolis, the back end of Indianapolis, through the back door, I guess. And it was
way back door.
It was.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I've never seen that in Indianapolis before. It reminded me.
I thought it was a prosperous city.
It is. But this particular area reminded me a little bit of Gary, Indiana.
Oh,
which literally was hit.
It was the armpit of America, right?
With a nuclear bomb, literally just decimated.
I mean, I thought Youngstown was like that.
Gary is much. You would be shocked to go through Gary, Indiana. Right just before you get into Chicago.
By the way,
is Gary.
Gary, Indiana is Chicago. It's just in a different state. It's called Indiana.
If you live in Gary, Indiana, and somebody says, "Where do you live at?" You say Chicago.
Right.
Yeah, literally.
Right. It's kind of like living in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. I mean, you're pretty much in Cincinnati.
Right. And that's where Michael Jackson was born, Gary, Indiana.
Oh, I thought it was Lawrenceburg.
Oh, no. So here's why we continue to have this this hate, this racist, this ranting, this. You've got Hollywood, you've got these famous elites that just want to brainwash you. They know that their followers like them and maybe even idolize them, and so they'll spew their hate and anger upon them in the hopes that they will adopt those ideologies. And so you have what you have. You get what you get when you have Wanda Sykes take the stage.
Here's the thing. After the election, I was going around consoling people. I said, guys, look on the bright side. Look at this. I was telling everybody, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I was like, I am certain this is not the first time we've elected a racist, sexist, homophobic president. He ain't the first one. He's just the first confirmed one. That's it. Wow. You motherfuckers, all of y'all. All of y'all.
That's right.
Yes. You. All of y'all.
Take none of that shit.
How can you? The evidence is there. The evidence is there. How can you say he's not racist? How can you?
What do you mean? How can you say he's not racist?
How can you say he's not sexist? How can you say he's not racist? How can you say he's not homophobic?
Wow, I have faith in humanity again.
She was booed off stage and left.
So she had a routine to do and she just didn't do it?
Yeah.
How? Okay, let me ask you a question, Wanda. AKA Skunk from Over the Hedge.
Oh, right.
She was the skunk.
You know, that kind of fits her.
Yeah,
pretty well.
much, yeah. So she, the question for her is, how can you ask that question? How can you say he's not racist? What do you mean? What do you mean, how can I say he's not racist? How do you say he is?
Well, the evidence is there, Carrie.
Well, okay. I'm going to say this to her, just like I say it to everybody on Twitter who tries this. You tell me. Tell me, what is the evidence? Tell me how he's a racist. Explain to me. Give me examples. Give me specifics. I called somebody out on Facebook. Uh-oh. Andrew, if you're listening, Andrew. Yeah, if you call him a racist, I want to hear an example. And it better be real. And if it's one of the fake ones, by the way, fake news, hashtag trending like crazy all week. All week. Yes. So if you do the fake news examples of his racism, I'm going to call you out. And I'm going to ask follow-up questions. And you're going to be painted into a corner. And if you don't end up coming to the truth and realizing what you're saying is false after I show you it is false, then I have no choice but to call you a liar.
Oh, well, how about that? How about the Mr. Producer's claiming that he's got evidence of Trump and Trump's racist. He's racist.
Look at my African American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay.
I don't know what in the world that was about, but let me tell you something. You don't run a multi-billion-dollar organization that's loaded with employees from all backgrounds and just all of a sudden become how is that racist?
No, it's not. I mean, there's a difference between racism and not wording your words, not gluing your words together to make a sentence. He does this.
I almost feel like he did it on purpose to troll the media.
At one time, he was trolling people early on in the primaries, but I don't know. And then Wanda Sykes went off to say that the only example Wanda Sykes gave was, well, he said, grab him in the posse.
Okay.
I mean, it's sexist. It's a fact.
The thing about the grab her in the posse.
And I thought we were over that. I really did.
Yeah. Okay. The thing, believe me, they're never going to end. They're never going to let that down. When he runs again,
absolutely, posse's going to come back up.
I don't see why not. They're going to go back to that well again,
and he's going to be like, "Okay, folks, that's now 15 years old. It was 11, now it's 15.
Okay,
and in 4 more years, when Pence runs."
Well, it could be brought up again.
Years.
Here's why I think that it will become relevant. They're going to say, well, we knew about Grabber and the posse, right?
Right.
And people were appalled by it. And his poll numbers went down. But the reason he still won was because he was running against the criminal that is Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
And they wanted her even less. Now, here we are 4 years later, and we're running... who will run against him? Whoever it is.
I'll tell you who's going to run against him.
Oh, okay. All right. So now we have Howard Dean.
Because I don't know if you heard, Howard Dean is going to take back the Democrat Party and reorganize it.
Re-educate him?
Yeah, he wants to be the leader of the Democrat Party again and put them back together.
Okay, either that or, Kane may run. Honestly, I think that Kasich is going to come back as a Democrat and run against him. He's not going to primary him. He's going to run as a Democrat against either that or maybe McConnell or Lindsey Graham.
and by the way, we've got Lindsey Graham on the phone. Lindsey, how you doing, buddy?
How y'all doing?
So what do you think of Trump?
Well, I'll tell you what. Everybody doesn't like him. No, nobody likes him. Nobody likes him at all. But I'll tell you what. There's one thing I could tell you that he could do. In 4 years, he can go to hell.
Okay, thank you for being on the show,
right,
Lindsey.
Y'all bye-bye now.
God bless Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham. I need to call in.
we need the ringer, the ringtone. We got to call. We got to call.
Oh, like they do on
Bob and Tom.
Oh my gosh, they use like a school bell.
Just to kind of let you guys know, I mean, we're making fun of these people because they really are lunatics. You got Howard Dean, you've got Nancy Pelosi, and then last week we did the whole thing with Elizabeth Warren and her complete psychotic meltdown. Gary Johnson, we did do a couple things on Gary Johnson.
He's got some of the worst interviews I have ever seen in my life. And I'm not talking, he had one little gaffe.
No.
He's the kind of gaffe machine where you're just like, this guy's running for president? And I see when I was doing canvassing, every once in a while, it's very rare, but every once in a while, somebody would have a Johnson Weld sign in their yard. And I just want to bang on their door and say, did you not see these interviews? He is completely incompetent. He can't even conduct just a standard interview without making himself look psycho. Completely.
No, an absolute nut job. And this week, or within a week or two ago, Gary Johnson was talking with Ben, and this is what he had asked and put to Gary Johnson. Hey, you and you're agreeing with Obama's illegal immigration, illegal alien, and amnesty? What's going on?
Speaking of work visas, you have defended President Obama's executive amnesty action, where he basically decided unilaterally that he was going to issue work visas to millions of adult illegal immigrants who are here in the country.
Undocumented, by the way. If you use the term illegal immigrants, that is very incendiary to our Hispanic population here in this country.
Why is that?
It just is. It just is. Just so that you know. Just so that you know and you don't have to use that term.
But isn't the term accurate in the sense that they entered the country, they immigrated to the country illegally, so they are...
They came into this country because they couldn't get in legally.
They're illegally in the country, and they did that because they couldn't do it legally.
Folks, what does that tell you? What does it tell you? That tells you they do not... You got to understand their ideology. They do not believe in borders at all. At all.
We're coming full circle with our founding of our country with the Pilgrims.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the founding of our new country with John Lennon's Imagine.
Well, that would be open borders for all. There is no country in the world that allows open borders.
That's because
they wouldn't be a country if they did.
Well,
look at Germany.
That's the whole point of the definition of a country. It's like a parcel of land, a large one, if you will, of people who are governed by some sort of a centralized government. It could be very small in the case of the original Americas, but they had it. All the 13 colonies, they had a central federal government, and that is why we were called a country. And it comprised of the land that you saw in the maps. And it's really simple. And people are not happy without that kind of stuff. And the reason I say that is because you got these different cultures. Let Mexicans have Mexico and let them have their culture in Mexico. That's their place. That's their culture, and that's fine. There's no problem with that. let Americans have their culture in America. Let whatever country in Europe, let Spain have their country and their culture and their government in Spain within their borders. There's no problem with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You can actually have trade between them. That's another thing. I think it's a fallacy, or a lie, if you will, that the media would try to say that because Trump and his supporters believe in a border and a secure border and legal immigration, a process where immigrants have to go through this process in order to legally come to America, and they could get rejected for whatever reason. There could be a whole list of reasons why they could get
terrorism.
rejected. And
terrorism?
Well, it could be terrorism, or maybe it could be one of the big ones. Here's a big one. He just talked about this week. If they can not prove that they can sustain themselves with whatever skills they have and not be on the government dole as soon as they get here because they have no skills or whatnot, or maybe their culture is so different that they're not going to be happy here or whatever, and we determine that should be a perfectly legitimate reason to say, you know what, maybe you shouldn't be coming here. Simple as that. Or if they come from a country that hates America, there should be real serious vetting of those people. But anyway, the point is that, you know, let cultures have their cultures. If they want to come here, they should at least embrace American values, which is at the very minimum be able to look at the history of America, where you have your Declaration of Independence, your Constitution, limited centralized government, working hard to achieve the American dream on your own. If they can't embrace all of that, separation of powers, here's the big one, huge, freedom of religion, for God's sakes. If they can't embrace all that stuff, then you shouldn't be here. And you don't deserve to be here if we don't welcome you here, period.
And if your religion does not allow other religions, see, freedom of religion and the freedom for others.
Tolerance.
To practice. What?
You gotta have tolerance for other people's religions.
Well, I do, unless their religion is calling for the decapitation of other religions.
Why do you hate freedom of speech? I mean, I'm just saying, you know, I'll play devil's advocate.
Well, and I've said it many times on this show before, Islam is not a religion. Islam is a cult in wearing a burqa of religion. It's covered in a burqa of religion. It's a fake religion.
And before you go off saying, oh, listen to his intolerance. I mean, they teach people that they should lie to infidels in order to further their cause, which is the spread of Islam.
Right, and to take over every single square inch of the world for them and for Allah, and to put everybody under Sharia law. They are literally, and I found this out this week, I was amazed. Did you know that the highest number of people being killed by ISIS and Islam, do you know the number one culture that's being killed?
Oh, the number one. I would have assumed Jews.
You would think. Or Christians or something like that.
Christians or Jews.
Muslims.
Oh, that's almost like an analogy for the black on black crime.
They're not following the faith right.
Oh, so they're like, oh, you're like blasphemous or something like that.
Either blasphemy or you're not practicing it the way it needs to be practiced. Okay. So we're going to have to kill you.
Which is probably in compliance with Sharia law to do these. You know,
absolutely.
And here's another big one, now that we're on that. If you feel that it's your duty as a Muslim to come to America and try to implement Sharia law even if it's against the Constitution, and you'll fight that tooth and nail, you're just not compatible with the culture here in America, because our culture is centered around the Constitution.
Right.
And so, you know.
And the Founding Fathers originally, at one point in time, made it the religion of Islam not legally allowed to migrate to America because their religion states that we will overthrow your current government. So if they're willing to, if their goal is to overthrow the American government, we got a problem. You can't be here if your goal is to overthrow our government.
Yeah, let's simplify this. If you are not an American citizen and you want to overthrow the government, you're called an enemy combatant. If you are a citizen and you want to overthrow the government, you're called a traitor. It's that simple. There's nothing more complicated than that. And I think that people should be tried. I think we should bring charges of treason back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We should start using it. And first person that would be charged, and first and second, second place. First place, probably Hillary. Second, Obama. You can bat them.
I can't even
back
argue
and forth.
against that. I can't
one
argue
or two, or
against
two
that.
or one.
We're not being funny here. I mean,
I'm not being cynical. I'm not trying to be a jackball. This is for real.
Yeah.
This is for real.
There's so many things that they've done, especially Obama, that is not in the interest or against the interest of the American people.
I didn't mean to transition this way, but this actually transitions into a guy by the name of Mike Pompeo.
Oh, okay.
Who
would that be?
He is a Kansas City representative, or state of Kansas representative in Congress.
Okay.
And he is being looked at as, I believe, director of the CIA for Trump.
Okay.
A pretty high up position. And you're like, I've never heard of Mike Pompeo.
Yeah, I mean, just from the reports that have come out saying they're tapping into him.
I've got 2 sound bites of him. He was part of the Benghazi hearings with Trey Gowdy.
Okay.
I mean, if there was ever a tag team, if you will, Trey Gowdy and Mike, oh my goodness.
It's actually a trio because Jim Jordan was all up in that too, and he was awesome.
And Mike refers to Jim Jordan often as if they've worked together closely,
awesome.
Things like that.
I can tell you right now, Jim Jordan is a representative in Ohio for Congress that is just north of us. So we've seen and heard about him a lot, even though we're not constituents of his, but we're close. He is like the twin brother of Trey Gowdy. Just
superstar.
They're hardcore. They're really, really smart, and they really understand true conservatism. And it made me worry because there's these people that claim that they're conservative, and actually, if you read their stuff and listen to them, you're like, wow, that guy really is conservative. He understands the principles, but they were never Trumpers. And it worried me that Jim Jordan was. He was in Springfield when we were there with our press passes.
Oh, right.
And when he spoke, he gave a full-throated endorsement of Trump while he was there. So I was really happy to hear that from Jim Jordan. But anyway, go ahead with Pompeo.
And there's a little bit of a long soundbite, but this, and I'm not rehashing it, this is Benghazi trials, and this is Mike Pompeo, and you've never heard this before. That's why I'm going to play it. It's a few minutes long, about a couple minutes into it. I might stop it so we can comment on it. But this is very important to hear Mike's interaction with Hillary Clinton on the Benghazi trials. And by the way, if she sounds a little disconnected and a little despondent in the video, she does look like, it's clear, I'm not joking, like she's hungover.
Madam Secretary, you've referred to the QDDR a couple times as being important to diplomatic security. Is that correct?
It provoked a discussion, Congressman, about balancing of risk.
Madam Secretary, I had a chance to read that. I wanted to only read the executive summary that ran 25 pages, but it didn't have a word about diplomatic security in those entire 25 pages of the executive summary. Not one word, Madam Secretary. And then I read the remaining pages, amounted to 270 plus. Do you know how many pages of those 270 had to do with diplomatic security?
It was about the balancing of risk and reward, which was not only about diplomatic security specifically, but about the larger question of our mission around the world.
Madam Secretary, there was no balance. There was no balance. There was 2 pages out of 270 pages. You talked about a lot of things in there. You talked about a lot of improvements, but it didn't have anything to do with diplomatic security in any material way in that report. You talked about being disappointed, too. I've heard you use that several times. You were disappointed. You read the ARB. Why don't you fire someone? In Kansas, Madam Secretary, I get asked constantly, why has no one been held accountable? How come not a single person lost a single paycheck connected to the fact that we had the first ambassador killed since 1979? How come no one has been held accountable to date?
Oh, man, that's so... it makes my skin crawl and my blood boil every time we start hearing these hearings for Benghazi, because as a former service member myself, having served overseas and all that kind of stuff, Marine Corps, and Brian here in the Air Force, it just infuriates me. We were always taught, leave no soldier behind, leave no man behind in any case, and they were absolutely left behind, and it's infuriating.
Okay, so you see how he's putting it to her. He's laying out facts and figures, and he's starting to paint a path for her to walk down. And he's kind of leading her in a direction that he wants to go with to literally expose either one, her absolute ignorance of what was going on, or two, that she's an absolute liar. So it'll come out one of two ways. She's an ignorant buffoon and should have never have had that position, which I think we all agree now.
What's been established is she's a liar too. So that's, you end up with kind of a hybrid of the two maybe. But one thing I'll say, the answer to the question is, why was nobody accountable? If you want to be a conspiracy theorist, which I have no problem with you if you want to go down that route, but the answer to that question is mission accomplished.
Wow.
I think that's why nobody was held accountable. There might have been medals given out in secret.
In the second soundbite, Mike kind of opens up that can of worms on her, and she falls into it. But let's finish this first soundbite real quick. This is Mike Pompeo, possible cabinet member for Donald J. Trump, grilling Hillary and painting a picture of complete and utter incompetence during the Benghazi trials.
Well, Congressman, the Accountability Review Board pointed out several people working in the State Department who they thought had not carried out their responsibilities adequately, but they said that they could not find a breach of duty. And
yes, ma'am,
the personnel rules and the laws that govern those decisions were followed very carefully.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not asking what the ARB did. I'm asking what you did.
I followed the law, Congressman. That was my responsibility.
Madam Secretary, you're telling me that you had no authority to take anyone's paycheck, to cause anyone to be fired. You're telling me you were legally prohibited from doing that. Is that your position here this morning?
It is my position that in the absence of finding dereliction or breach of duty, there could not be immediate action taken, but there was a process that was immediately instituted and which led to decisions being made.
Yes, ma'am. The decision was to put these back at full back pay and keep them on as employees. That was the decision that was made as a result of the processes that you put in place. I will tell you, the folks in Kansas don't think that is accountability. I want to do some math with you. Could I get the first chart, please? You know how many...
So he's now showing her charts of emails, and there's a graph of emails and the amount of emails, and still speaking about security.
Security requests that were in the first quarter of 2012.
For everyone or for Benghazi?
I'm sorry, yes, ma'am. Related to Benghazi and Libya. Do you know how many there were?
No, I do not know.
Ma'am, there were just over 100 plus. In the second quarter, do you know how many there were?
No, I do not.
Ma'am, there were 172-ish. Might have been 171 or 173. That's how many were there in July and August, and then in that week and a few days before the attacks? Do you know?
There were a number of them. I know that.
Yes, ma'am. 83 by our count. That's over 600 requests. You've
for security.
Testified here this morning that you had none of those reach your desk. Is that correct? Also,
that's correct.
Okay. He's leading her into it. 600 plus requests for security.
Did he say that they did not reach her desk?
Yes.
Okay.
And she said that is correct.
Okay.
This guy's painting her right into a corner.
Madam Secretary, Mr. Blumenthal wrote you 150 emails. It appears from the testimony or the materials that we've read that all of those reached your desk. Can you tell us why security requests from your professionals, the men that you just testified, and with which I agree are incredibly professional, incredibly capable people, trained in the art of keeping us all safe, none of those made it to you? But a man who was a friend of yours, who'd never been to Libya, didn't know much about it, at least that's his testimony, didn't know much about it. Every one of those reports that he sent on to you that had to do with situations on the ground in Libya, those made it to your desk. You asked for more of them. You read them. You corresponded with him. And yet the folks that worked for you didn't have the same courtesy.
Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Is this a congressional hearing?
Yeah.
Didn't he just catch her in a bold-faced lie?
Yes.
So, did they put the cuffs on her right then, or is that coming?
No, she ran for president of the United States of America.
Well, the statute of limitations has not passed yet on that bold-faced... Like, right there, it's not like they have to do hearings to find out whether or not she lied.
Just listen to Smith Radio. We're playing the sound bites of the lies.
Real time, he said, isn't it true that you said that they didn't reach your desk? And she said, yeah, I did say that. One thing he may have screwed up there is not to repeat. Are you still saying that to us, that they didn't reach your desk?
Well, he's saying, then the second part was Sid Blumenthal. His emails did reach her desk, but the security requests did not.
Okay, so...
Sid Blumenthal, who's not part of the government, is giving her on-the-ground advice about Benghazi and Libya, and Sid, under testimony, claimed he'd never been there. That he didn't know anything about it. Yet the emails show he's given Hillary advice, and she's asking for more of it.
Okay, so she may not have exactly lied. She might be able to weasel out of that one.
Well, with all the WikiLeaks emails coming out,
oh boy,
just back that up with all this, and obviously she knew everything that was going on.
Oh, she knew it, but the question was, did the security request reach her desk? And then the follow-up question is what does security risk reaching her desk actually mean? If the email didn't land on her desk in a physical piece of paper printed out from an email, or the security request from those who asked for them didn't show up on her computer in her inbox, could you make the argument that Sid Blumenthal telling her that there's security requests for her, if we could prove that he's asking her directly through email about these security, isn't that the same thing as landing on her desk?
I would almost argue that that's possible. Yeah.
Yeah. So
the WikiLeaks emails did show that Hillary Clinton and her team emailing back and forth with Christopher Stevens, and Christopher Stevens saying, "You got to get me out of here in July. It's too dangerous. We're the last ones. You got to get me out of here, man."
I would have asked her, "Are you telling me that you did not know at all about these security requests?" That's what I would have asked.
Right.
Then that way, she would have had, in order to avoid lying, she would have said, "I did know about them. I didn't know. The request didn't come to my desk directly, but I knew about it." And if she didn't say that, then she's definitely going to jail for lying to Congress. Or I should say, maybe not going to jail. I mean, Clinton lied to Congress, and all he got was impeached. He didn't go to jail for that.
Right.
He didn't even get removed from office, which is a bunch of
So Christopher Stevens is begging to get me and get my team out of here. And Clinton's team, not directly necessarily Clinton, but Clinton's team emailed Christopher back and said, it's bad for optics, man. The world is watching, and we can't walk away from this right now.
Not only that, but we haven't gotten done killing you yet.
Yeah, and
the mission is you are to die, and we need to accomplish that mission first.
And so this second, and I know we're retrying Benghazi, but I just want you to understand.
Well, we're talking about
Podesta
or Pompeo. Pompeo was the one that was grilling Clinton, and I'll tell you what. He does come from the same mold as Gowdy. He sounds very, very, very intelligent. I like the way he was able to word those questions that just really make her look bad.
And this second soundbite, a little bit shorter, only 2 minutes, but this second soundbite of Pompeo starts to paint that, not tinfoil hat, but starts to expose the things that may have been tinfoil hat to be actually real.
Yeah, take the tinfoil hat off. You've been exposed.
On the ground in Benghazi, they have found people talking to people about stuff. And does Hillary know about that?
Hey, put the next poster up, please. Secretary, you're not likely to know who these two folks are, do you?
I do not.
One on the left is Mohammed al-Zahawi. He was the head of Ansar al-Sharia, a jihadist group based in Benghazi. The man on your left is Wissam bin Hamid. Were you aware that your folks in Benghazi, Libya, met with that man?
What do you mean by your folks?
Her people,
Okay.
her team, people that worked for her, met with these two terrorists on the ground in Benghazi.
Within 48 hours before the attack?
I know nothing about any meeting with him.
On September 11th, on the day that he was killed, Ambassador Stevens sent a cable to the State Department talking about Mr. bin Hamid. Are you aware of that cable?
No, I'm not.
He said in his cable, he said they, referring to Mr. Wissam bin Hamid, they wanted an introductory meeting. They were here. They asked us what we needed to bring security to Benghazi. So your officials were meeting with this man on the ground in Benghazi, Libya, discussing security 2 days before that. But in August of that same year, the United States government had said that this very man was, quote, a young rebel leader who allegedly fought in Iraq under the flag of Al-Qaeda. Were you aware that our folks were either wittingly or unwittingly meeting with Al-Qaeda on the ground in Benghazi, Libya, just hours before the attack?
I know nothing about this, Congressman.
I think that's deeply disturbing. I think the fact that your team was meeting with
I'm sorry, which team is this, Mr.
Yeah, it would have been, we don't know exactly who.
Well, it would be
held the meeting
helpful.
with him. It would have been one of your State Department employees, Madam Secretary. I don't know which one. Perhaps you could enlighten us, or we can get the records we need to do so.
Well,
to date, we've not been able to learn that.
Well, since we didn't have an ongoing government personnel in Benghazi, I don't know to whom you are referring.
Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back the balance of my time.
He's frustrated because she's flat out lying. They had a team. Her team was on the ground in Benghazi negotiating security with known terrorists.
And it's so you're saying it's either that they got duped by ISIS, or assuming ISIS was or this was part of a plan to murder all the people in Benghazi, all the Americans, I should say,
to cover up the military weapons transfer.
That's right. Yeah.
To ISIS, Al Qaeda, and there are pictures of Hillary Clinton in the Middle East taking photo op shots with militants who are Al Qaeda terrorists.
That is really strange. You would think that they would love to go ahead and murder her as a trophy, but they didn't.
Because
they took the photo.
Because that's the money. That's where all the money's coming from.
Oh, they can't kill the cash cow.
No, the Humvees, the tanks, the RPGs, all the weapons, M16s.
Why slaughter the cow when you get the milk for free?
Oh no! Even if it does have cankles.
Oh, have you seen those cow legs? Oh man.
So that's Pompeo giving it to Mrs. Clinton during the Benghazi hearing, and I'll tell you what, I'm excited to see that he's one of the guys that'd be coming on board. And for the people of Kansas that elected Mike Pompeo, please look for another qualified individual to take Mike's seat. The other one that I'm not sure about, Senator Jeff Sessions. Phenomenal guy. I just absolutely love Jeff Sessions. He's one of the very first, most conservative, not most conservative, one of the top conservatives up there on Capitol Hill. Been there for a while. Jeff Sessions was one of the, I believe Trump was the first person that Jeff Sessions has ever endorsed for president. And Jeff
he was
Sessions,
one of the first ones to endorse him, yeah.
And I don't think Jeff Sessions has endorsed another person for president. Like, Trump was the first one he endorsed.
Right.
And he was early on, held his endorsement, never wavered this entire time. I love the fact that Sessions is in the Senate. Sessions does an incredible job. What do you think about Sessions being on Trump's team and then that seat being open?
The one thing I don't like, and I was hoping it'd be more like the JFK transition team, where he was tapping all the best and brightest minds from the private sector.
Okay.
This whole thing of tapping into all these sitting senators and congressmen and stuff, we're taking away from the votes and stuff like that in Congress, aren't we?
Well, what about Mitt Romney?
He's not currently sitting governor.
No, he's not.
So, okay, so let's talk Romney here. There is no way he's going to be. I'm calling it right now, folks. Of everything
this is
I know,
painful.
It's painful.
This really and truly hurts.
It hurts. It hurts. And you know who's going to be saying that is Romney, Rhino Romney. There is no way he's going to. I think they're trolling him.
You know what? Whether they are or not, I feel that the fake media is absolutely giddy with the possibility. And you know how they make the news, they create the news, and then they create reality because reality follows them.
Do you know what?
So they're trying to make this happen.
You know when the Daily Show first started up, like 20 years ago or something like that, they had a promo little commercial that they would say on Comedy Central during the day to promote it. And I'll never forget it because it's kind of actually pretty funny. And they would say, when the news breaks, we fix it.
And they actually became the fixer.
Right. And the main thing, the thing that's funny about that is they were fake. They've always said we're just a comedy show where we take real news and we add fake things to make it funny. And so the promo, when news breaks, we fix it, that was kind of an honest portrayal of what that show really was.
However, Jon Stewart had other things in mind.
Right, and to his credit, you know,
he wanted to be the real news.
Right,
he wanted to be.
Don't think for 1 second that he doesn't fake it. Don't think for 1 second. It's still fake.
I mean, he's an actor.
Right, and he would add things that aren't true in order to make it funny or compelling and whatever. So don't think that he wasn't faking. He just did a better job of faking it than any other leftist. He was the best at it because you couldn't even spot where it was false. He was that good. You would listen to his entire spiel every day, every report, and you were like, wow, that sounds true. It's crazy. Like there's so much truth in the way that he delivered it. But make no mistake, it was fake. Flat out fake. It was just, he created a narrative that was really, really believable. And it wasn't. And you know how I know it wasn't? Because he was furthering the leftist cause at the expense of free market capitalist Republicans. And there is no way you can spin that turd into gold. It's impossible. It cannot be done. Flat out. And when it looks like it's been accomplished, let's just cut out the middleman. I'll cut out all your research right here. You're going to find the falseness in it. You're going to find it. You have to dig really hard, especially with Jon Stewart. It might be so nuanced that you have to the Sudoku puzzles with all the numbers?
Yeah.
The really tough ones, you have to triangulate 3 or 4 different ways to find the number. And that was Jon Stewart was like the Sudoku that's
he was
the
great
expert.
at that. He was great at that.
A layman would look at those expert Sudoku puzzles and be like, well, this is unsolvable. But there's a really tough way to figure out what the numbers are. And that was Jon Stewart in his news. You were like, this can't be real, is it? Well, trust me, it's fake because everything left, communist, progressive, and all that, it's all founded on a lie.
Jon Stewart this week. Trump, a repudiation of Republicans.
Okay, so you see what he did there, right?
Enlighten us.
Well, Republicans, they fight against Republicans because that's the party of the right. But what he doesn't tell you is it's a repudiation of the Rhino Republicans, which are, for the most part, are progressive enablers.
He's calling those guys, they are the swamp.
I mean, that's part of it.
Those Republicans.
See, there's the truth.
He's half truth in all of this.
Right, but what he's trying to get you to believe is that they're not under fire. It's the Republicans.
Right.
That's the fake part.
Right.
When it comes to draining the swamp, the left is a lot more part of this swamp than the right.
And we do, and we talk about it here on the show all the time. Those that are in the swamp that are on the right, there's a handful of them, maybe two handfuls.
Well, let's talk about Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, and Mitt Romney.
How about John Kasich?
John Kasich. These are all progressive leftists. There is nothing right about these guys other than the R next to their name. The word rhino means something. It means Republican in name only. They're complete Democrat, progressive, leftist, Marxist, all the above. They might not come out with Marxist policies, but don't think for 1 second that they aren't de facto Marxists by enabling the Democrats that are pretty much Communist Party USA card holders. When they enact their legislation, they enable it.
Well, and it may not be clear Marxist rules or laws or implementation of policies, but make no mistake, every single thing they do is a little bit closer. We've got to move this ship down this road. We've got to get it going this way down the road of Marxism.
How about the Jedi mind trick that the left does when they say we need to have open borders? We need to let the illegal aliens in, and the ones that are here illegally, we need to make legal. We need full amnesty. The Jedi mind trick is that the Republicans are like, this is working for them. They're getting a lot of constituents this way. And the ones that are legal, let's say Mexicans or South Americans or whatever, that are here legally, they seem to want to support the Democrats more because of that. So we need to start allowing that. It's a total Jedi mind trick.
Right.
Maybe we do want to legalize these illegal aliens.
Yikes.
You see what I'm saying? This is the swamp that needs to be drained. But what Jon Stewart fails to let you, tell you is that the swamp starts with the left, and the people with the Republican name, the R next to their name, are part of that swamp too, but they're rhinos. So that's where the dishonesty comes in.
God bless Jon Stewart. He should just go away, actually. He should go away.
He's done a lot of damage to America.
And he's attempting to make a comeback, and he's the darling to the left of the media. And they want him to come back on Comedy Central because he was so good at what he did. And so he makes his rounds now on some of the mainstream media, and apparently this week he was on Charlie Rose. And,
that guy's a piece of work, Charlie Rose. Oh my God.
Did you hear this week about this other piece of work?
This is the real problem. The media doesn't have... Look, I don't have credibility with your viewers, and I know that because I made mistakes.
Wait a minute, hold on. He's talking to who? He's got to be talking to like Bill O'Reilly or something, right?
No.
Because if you think about it, he said, I don't have credibility with your audience because I made mistakes. So he's talking to people on the right.
That would be us, right?
Yeah.
No. He's on CNN with Anderson Cooper.
What?
Yes, he's on CNN with Anderson Cooper.
That is so revealing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, it's revealing. He came out. Glenn Beck is just in a tailspin. You remember the movie Top Gun? And at the end, where they jettison the canopy and they hit the eject seats, and Goose hit the canopy,
broke his neck,
right,
killed him. Yeah.
Well, the whole aircraft was spinning out of control because of jet wash, and
it was in a flat spin.
Right. That's Glenn Beck.
He's in the flat spin.
Yeah, and he's hitting the canopy right now.
Oh wow! That's pretty much an accurate description because did he realize what he just said there? That's called a Freudian slip.
He came out and said, "I'm with her."
He did?
Yes.
You don't have that soundbite?
No, I mean, literally, he wrote it, but he.
You mean figuratively?
Figuratively, he wrote it, and the whole meme with him,
right,
in Breitbart.
I've seen that meme.
I'm with her,
right?
But he didn't say no. That's not true.
Oh, of course not.
He said, I will make the moral case to vote for Hillary.
I've heard him say that the reason I need to vote for Hillary is because, number one of the two are going to be our president. So voting for Gary Johnson, Stein, or Egg McMuffin.
They got less, what was it, like 1% or less?
It was pretty small. But the reason he wasn't going to vote for them is because he knew that neither one of those was going to be president. So he wanted to vote for the one that was least likely to have him murdered. And he felt more, he actually said this on his show. He said that he feels that under a Trump, that he would be one of the people rounded up and put into the ovens.
No.
And he felt like there was a less of a chance of him rounded up and executed under a Hillary Clinton.
But he's not Jewish. Why are you going to round him up?
Well, you don't just round up Jewish people. I mean,
I was told on CNN this week.
Well, Stalin, he rounded up anybody that did not fully toe the line for communism.
Right.
So in the case of Trump, he believed that he would be rounded up because he didn't believe in capitalism. I don't know. What are you getting rounded up? What are you talking about? So
what in Donald Trump's past makes you believe that he rounds people up?
Well, here's something, and I'm going to reveal something to our listeners who may not already know this. Some of them probably do know. I'm going to reveal to you the very single thing that is wrong with Glenn Beck. And without this fault, he would be perfectly fine.
He's missing a chromosome.
That may be one thing, but there's something bigger.
He's part of
swamp donkey.
He is a swamp donkey for sure. There's no doubt about that. No, the problem with Glenn Beck is every time the mainstream media on the left reports something, he is 100% sold on it.
You know, we talked about this before.
Yep.
That is true. He does not like...
he doesn't say, oh, whatever, that's a big lie.
And
he never says that.
Rush Limbaugh's show literally is all about exposing the mainstream media as all the lies.
Right.
The PBSs and the PRs.
NBC, CBS, ABC, they're regular over-the-air channels. That's all 100% mainstream media.
They're over what?
Over the air, like radio waves.
What?
Yeah, waves. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They're called electromagnetic waves, actually.
And I tell you what, the millennials are not. They're not
like,
into that.
What?
They're not into that.
I don't know anything about wave pool. Maybe I don't know.
And not to get too sidetracked, but this election was historic in the sense that this was the first internet digital media election. Trump did not run. I literally heard almost no ads on local radio, local TV with Trump.
Have you seen the graph that shows the spending per month by each candidate from like October of 2015 all the way till November of 2016? There's it's a bar graph.
Okay.
And you see it kind of ramps up and ramps up and ramps up until it hits November, which obviously drops off because it's only 8 days, right? But it is amazing. First of all, I was shocked to see how much Trump actually did spend because it seemed like he didn't spend anything. But I think he spent like a quarter of what Hillary Clinton spent and her machine, the Clinton machine. It was amazing. Yeah, I'll show it to you.
Okay,
it's been making its round on Twitter.
I've got just even in the third quarter, they're talking about third quarter spending. She $25.8 million to Trump's 4.2.
Yeah, and they said that she spent, I think it was $20 per vote, where Trump spent $5 per vote. So about 4 times as much as Trump is what Hillary Clinton spent. So a very efficient campaign, extremely efficient. He actually won and everything. And it's funny because you look at Jeb Bush during the primary, and he had like $160 million. He dumped most of it on the Florida campaign and lost it miserably. I think he got like 4%. He spent like a couple million per vote or something like that.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Well, I mean, but look at him.
He should have just said, "Listen, if you post a selfie of a ballot selfie."
Okay.
Showing that you voted for me, I'll mail you $100 bill. which is a felony, but still, he would have been better off.
He could have been.
He would have been better off in jail as a felon, having spent $100 per vote in the primary. He would have been better off.
Wow.
So I don't see the graph anywhere on your screen.
No,
it's
I'm
actually
not buying it.
2 bar graphs, top and bottom. Somebody posted on Twitter, but it's amazing. And first of all, like the first half of the entire election cycle, Trump spent nearly nothing. He didn't start really ramping up his spending until after he won the primary.
TV ads for through 11/8, so all the way to the election. Hillary Clinton 127 million, and Trump 18.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Oh gosh, that's terrible. And by the way, anecdotally speaking, we live in Ohio, which is a swing state, and we're going to be subjected to a barrage of all that kind of campaigning and stuff. I can tell you firsthand experience that I felt like I was being barraged by Hillary ads. It was getting depressing.
It was so bad. It was so bad on the radio. So I listen to radio at night that I was getting angry. And every time it came on, her ad would come on, it would just remind me of how much I was voting against her. It actually it fueled my
you're
fire.
Saying her ads actually worked against her.
It fueled my fire.
They say that's the double-edged sword of negative campaigning, is that it makes you look like you're the negative person.
Right. And she said that Trump said that she had spent $50 million at one point in time for negative ads alone.
Okay.
$50 million, and she dropped 10 points in the poll.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was bad. Well, Trump did a really good job of what we call in the industry leveraging the media. You get free advertising through the media just simply by trolling. Also, he did spend money on Twitter ads, and now I think he's suing them because they shadow banned him.
Yes.
They shadow banned at Real Donald Trump.
Oh.
And actually implemented algorithms. Here's the thing. Donald Trump was your customer. He was buying millions of dollars worth of ads on Twitter. He is your customer, and you're attacking him. Let me tell you something. Jack, if you're listening, at support, at Twitter, if y'all are listening, you guys are going to go the way Yahoo did. We talked about this on the show in previous episodes. I was huge in the Yahoo message boards back in the day, and it was replaced by Yahoo Answers. And what they did was Yahoo had their own email called @yahoo.com, whatever your name was at yahoo.com. A lot of people had that as their primary email. And the reason they did it was like the first one out that was absolutely free, or one of the first ones. Before that, if you had like an AOL email, it was because you subscribed to AOL.
Right.
Here in Cincinnati, we had cincy.rr.com. That was Roadrunner. If you paid for the Roadrunner, but if you stopped your payments, you lost that email, right?
Correct.
When Yahoo came out, all you had to do was sign up for it. You didn't have to pay anything. It was revolutionary, and even though everybody hated the stupid Yahoo extension because it made you look like a child, made you look like you were in junior high or something, it was free, and so a lot of people used it. Well, guess what? When people were posting, it could be abusive posts on Yahoo message boards, or if they were construed as abusive because the liberals on the that worked for Yahoo, who were in charge of monitoring these things, were triggered by right-wing posts, they would suspend the people that were posting.
Right.
Which included suspending their primary email.
Oh, and so now you got to go look for another email.
Yeah, they were shocked. They were like, there were people who had to sign in to Yahoo as a new user were freaking out saying that other account that got suspended was my business email. They were small business owners.
Wow.
And they would post something that was like pro-Bush or something like that.
And back in the day, you didn't really understand that. You might not have understood what could or what would happen through the internet. And now, look at all these other email avenues that you can go down. Even with Smith Radio, we've got Smith info@smithradio.com. That'll never be taken down.
That's like one of the main reasons that you do it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That, and I've got a personal email account that's smith.info. And that'll never be taken. That is my primary email account, smith.info. One for the kids, one for the wife. And it just...
Now you don't ever have to worry about losing that. Right. And I will give Google a lot. First of all, Google, this is what happened to Yahoo. And Twitter, if you're listening, you should be listening. Jack Dorsey, you should be listening.
Because gab.ai is around the corner.
And they're just a couple of abuses away. Did you hear that this past week they were doing wholesale banning on Twitter of all conservatives? They were just like, you know what? We're just cleaning house. They're banning so many people. It's scary.
And a guy this is the second guy who gave me a big break in Twitter. The first one was Ricky Vaughn.
Ricky Vaughn, yeah.
Yeah, he got banned. He gave me a hookup. And then here recently, Woods.
Oh, James Woods.
James Woods, because he tweets at 3 a.m., which would be midnight LA time, 3 a.m. Cincinnati time. So I'd be the first one to comment.
On the East Coast?
Yeah,
right?
on the East Coast. And then I'd get blown up. And then the one thing went viral. And then all of a sudden, Thursday, James Woods said, I'm done. Bye-bye.
Why?
He's done with Twitter.
I didn't know that.
He said he's done with Twitter because the conservative ban.
Yeah.
It's all over with. I'm walking away from you.
Wow. You know, it's interesting. That may not just be in a vacuum. He may have done that because he's hip to some competitor.
Something's going down.
So let's wrap this up. Google comes along, and Google was getting really popular. This was back when Yahoo was just wholesale banning people, including their business emails. They weren't even. I got super lucky. Tell me how lucky I got. I got banned from using Yahoo message boards completely, totally banned. But for some really weird reason, it did not include banning my email address. But I heard all these horror stories of people not having access to their email once they were banned from Yahoo message boards. And I decided, wow, that was a close call, but I can't count on this being safe anymore. I can't be safe anymore. Hold on a second. So hold that thought. Brian's seeing breaking news, but hold that thought. So all of a sudden, out of the blue, Google announces a big new feature that they're going to have, and it's called Gmail. That was the new big thing, Gmail.
Sweet.
So they said their big selling point was there's going to be so much storage on here, you'll be able to put everything on. It was like 100 times more storage
forever
than Yahoo.
Now they've got the cloud.
Yeah,
and
so
everything's up there.
So everybody immediately, as quick as you can imagine, they jumped ship from Yahoo, abandoned them. They've got millions and millions. Remember that just a couple months ago, they had a huge breach of security at Yahoo.
Oh, yeah. It was big.
They said 250 million email addresses were affected.
Compromised, yeah.
And guess what? Nobody gave a crap. You know why?
Nobody
because
sweated
99% of those 250 million email addresses affected have already been abandoned.
Right.
They've been abandoned. So anyway, those people jump ship and go to Google Gmail, which is what I did, and Yahoo collapsed. Their stock prices collapsed. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is what is in store for Twitter, because the abuses that they're doing to their customers are almost a mirror image of the abuses that Yahoo was doing to their customers at the time. And all they needed was a big competitor called Google to put Yahoo out of business. And by the way, they still haven't recovered. Their stock price compared to what it was back in the day, it'll never recover.
No.
Never. Fast forwarding, Twitter, I'm telling you, one competitor comes along that people are like, oh, really? It's over.
So there's a guy on Twitter that's pretty famous. I mean, when I say famous, he's in the realm of the guys that we all follow each other and you see each other, and it's, you see this guy all the time, and he tweets a lot. Jared Wade. This guy right here.
It's W-A-W-Y. Right.
Yeah.
Wade with a Y. Why?
We have determined.
YN.
We have determined that you have violated the Twitter rules, so you'll need to wait some time before using Twitter again. Try back in 9 hours and 22 minutes. He said it's the third time he's been banned. Like clockwork. Second time in 3 days. They've already decided to permanently ban me and are now just going through the steps.
Right. So he's not
going through the process.
He's not permanently banned actually, but he's realizing
every time
the permanent ban's coming.
Yeah, every time he gets on, he then has to go through the steps of follow the process. Okay, what do you want me to do? Unlock my account. Oh, you want me to wait 10 hours?
Right.
Okay.
But what they're doing is they're trying to put together the case for a permanent ban.
Right. And so Brittany Pettibone, she says, if you're looking for freedom of speech, you won't find it on Twitter. Try gab.ai instead.
Is that going?
When you log, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. When you log, like you say join and you add your email, and then it says you are now in the queue.
Oh, because they haven't launched yet.
I guess.
All right. Well, somebody needs to.
know.
I'm going to tell you right now, for all you entrepreneurs out there, I'm going to tell you right now, if you come out with a very good social app that's almost exactly like Twitter with a lot of those features, you're going to take off like a rocket ship that you have never heard before. Don't think that Google had all that success because they had a big name and they were offering a lot of free space. Because a lot of people had businesses with Yahoo and they really didn't have a huge reason to leave. Or if they didn't have a huge reason to leave, it would have been slow going for Google. The reason Google took off like a bat out of hell was because Yahoo was abusing their conservative users.
Right.
And by the way, Google owns YouTube, and they're a little bit better than Twitter, but not a whole heck of a lot better. They're better, but not a lot better, right? I mean, there's been some irregular activity. Google needs to watch themselves. They're not right wing, but they're a lot more
they did help
cognizant.
They did help Hillary during the campaign,
right,
with search results and search things like that. YouTube, they've left us alone for a while.
They banned you for a while. I think it's ridiculous when.
Well, they realized that they could make money off of us by not banning us.
Right. They probably do that to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, if you listen to who was it? Not Ray William Johnson, but the other one, his good twin, Philip DeFranco.
Oh, right.
Philip DeFranco is really turning the corner. He's said, I'm not voting for either Hillary or Trump, but he's been very passive aggressively defending Trump. And It's causing a lot of I'm going to tell you right now, I used to despise listening to him whenever he brought up politics because he's your typical low information, young millennial guy who wants to cater to all the rest of the big millennial generation that's paying his bills. But he's turning the corner, man. He's gone from saying that, hey, I'm not totally against Trump because I hate Hillary.
Right.
So I'm not totally against him, but I'm not going to vote for him. To kind of defending a lot of stuff he's coming out. And now he's defending people who are getting banned because of their Trump support. And he's also lashing out against people who are turning to violence who are against Trump.
Well, it's just unbelievable. These loonies that think that they can go ahead and shame us out now.
It's not working anymore.
No.
They've gone to that well too many times. And when you go to that well too much, you end up exposing yourself. And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. If you just do it sporadically, it is so effective. They took down the whole Tea Party movement with it.
Yeah. It doesn't work anymore. Check this out. Lena Dunham.
Yeah.
nasty as you want to be, I guess.
Are you okay?
She's very beside herself with all these pics that Trump is putting together. She's really upset.
Pics? You mean
for
choices?
choices.
When you said pics, I was like, photos?
Oh, no, pics as in, if you're playing dodgeball, I pick you.
Oh, right.
You.
And not the last one standing.
That's Lena Dunham. She's angry because she's the last one standing.
Wait a minute.
Nobody picked
Mitt Romney's definitely going to be last. There's no doubt about that.
So Lena is in her car. Somebody else is driving. And she calls Paul Ryan's office.
She does?
That's why it's important for me that your voice be heard. Please feel free to share with us your ideas and your concerns. You can also contact me at www.speaker.gov. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Record your message after the tone. When you've finished, you can hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Speaker Ryan. This is Lena Dunham calling. I wanted to leave a message to let you know how disappointed so many of us are in the appointment of Steve Bannon. I'm not sure you're really going to listen to this, but I hope you do, because I want to let you know that as a woman, as a Jew, as a person who cares about other human beings,
as a liar,
people of color, the idea of appointing an anti-Semitic white supremacist. No, I'm not actually satisfied with my reporting. Thank you.
Oh, no. If you're satisfied, we don't like what you're saying. So, what do you, as a Jew, what is she saying? Anti-Semitic? This is all
people
lies.
of color. People of color.
POCs. Yeah, that's an acronym. They call them POCs.
POC?
I don't. All I know, because that's a new thing. All I know is when I'm on Twitter and I see POC, I can't ever remember what the hell they're talking about. I'm like, POC, I know I'm supposed to know this.
Oh, I got it mixed up with people of Sharia.
No, that would be Pete. Oh, no, you didn't.
I almost got Uncle Kerry.
Dude, no. Oh, my goodness. We're gonna get fined by the FCC.
Go to hell!
Oh,
y'all go to hell!
Grab her in the what? Or
this
grab her
is
by-
painful. Yeah. This really and truly hurts.
Oh no! So that was our comic relief of the day. Lena Dunham. She got cut off. Who posted that? She did.
She had to have posted.
But yeah, somebody who was recording it.
She was in the car on her phone, and the driver had like a camera on her, and somebody was driving, recording her doing this.
She may have been periscoping. Because the reason I say that is because that makes her look like an idiot.
She got so angry. Did you hear the last part
She
when
got
the phone
cut off by a machine?
Yeah, did you hear the last part when the phone cut off on her? It went, wink, 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 wink.
Well, that was added.
Oh, was it?
Was she playing? You added that. Oh, Mr. Producer.
Will I get in trouble for clipping that Pac-Man? That was Pac-Man when he died.
Right. Pac-Man's dead? Okay.
He's got multiple lives. Just hit the reset.
Hit the one up.
Right, the one up.
Anyway, so Lena Dunham. So anti-Semitic Bannon pick. I mean, are you a moron? Yes, you are. You're a moron. He's not anti-Semitic.
No, not only that, but there's
Jewish people have come out that know him. Jewish people that actually know him personally have come out and said, no, he actually supports Jewish people.
Right.
So the whole idea of anti-Semitism is, where does that come from? When you have Jews that know you coming out and saying, actually it's the opposite, you're wrong. And if you don't accept that Jewish people that know him are saying that he's the opposite of anti-Semitic, that makes you a dishonest liar.
No, absolute liar. So there's a forward.com. Wow, I wonder how much they had paid for that. the breathtaking hypocrisy of Jews who line up behind Steve Bannon.
Maybe they're lining up behind him because they know that he's actually in support of Jews.
Twisted vision of America.
I mean, I said this last week on Your Voice. Listen, we all know who the anti-Semites are. If you go on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, if you search and find where the anti-Semitic posts are happening, you find out that it's the Democrats.
Right.
Leftist Democrats, they are the ones that are outwardly. Now, if you want to make the argument that, oh, well, that's true, but that just means that the Republicans are just more quiet about it. Okay, make that argument to me. Make that argument to me. I want to see what you're talking about. I want to see if you're right. I want to look into it. But the truth is that if you want to find anti-Semitic posts, it's happening by Democrats almost exclusively.
Right. Well, absolutely. There's no question about it. So there's Lena Dunham, a woman on the left with contempt, hate, and projecting her personal racism and hate towards Jews, I guess, or something.
Well, they say she's Jewish. She said as a Jewish person. As a Jewish person. Well, let me tell you something. Do you think for a second that Donald Trump's Jewish daughter would allow this? But believe me, she has.
As a Jew,
she has his ear.
Okay, all right. I was going to say, because as a Jewish person, would you not adhere to certain decorum and morals as a Jew? If you claim to be a Jew, you would. Like, I claim to be a Christian, so I try my best to be a good Christian.
Yeah, well, have you ever heard of the Ten Commandments?
Yeah, I try and
adhere to that.
That
is actually a Jewish, it's an Old Testament thing. It's Old Testament.
Well, Lena, you doing these naked, provocative, sexual stuff on TV.
Thou shalt not strip your clothes in front of a camera? Is that?
No, she would not be a morally a positive role model for women.
Oh, so she's objectifying the entire sex, the entire gender of womanhood by stripping herself, by objectifying herself in a very public manner. Did she strip?
She got, it's just disgusting, her stuff on the internet.
Sure it wasn't Photoshopped.
Yeah. So, by the way, DJT, Donald J. Trump, he just messaged us. He said, she's half Jew.
Who, Lena?
Yeah. You know, they had Salamanders. Adam Sanders' song.
Anders, yeah.
His song.
Yeah.
Half Jew. Who's a Jew in Hollywood?
Yeah. Lena Dunham was in that song?
Well, the whole joke, half Jew.
Okay.
They claim half Jews.
Here's what I don't like about the half Jew label. Jewish isn't I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. It's not a race, it's a religion.
Sammy Davis, half Jew.
Either you're Jewish because you follow the Jewish religion, Judaism, or you're not Jewish because you don't follow the religion.
Frank Sinatra, half Jew.
So this whole what your mom is and your dad is, well, which one, what religion are you? That would make you Jewish.
Right.
I can't stand it. Mexican is not a race. Mexican is a nationality.
John Leguizamo, full Mexican.
Is he?
Half Jew.
He's half Jewish? I don't know. What is this?
John Leguizamo?
Oh, this label thing is ridiculous. Listen.
They love labels, dude.
Oh, my God.
They are the labeler of labels. They say that we call people names.
What was your sexuality? There's like a million different subset culture things.
Oh, Tinder just and I heard this on the news. On the radio. Tinder just added 38 new gender identities.
What about, I'm talking about sexualities. Oh. You're talking about gender identities?
38 new gender identities on Tinder.
Oh my gosh. I mean, am I allowed to that would actually be good to filter all those people out.
True. Is there a section for a write-in?
Write-in.
So let me juxtapose. That is the left, Lena Dunham, and we also played Oh, the non-funny comedian. I've erased her from my mind. That got booed off
Statham
stage.
Andler.
She got booed off stage earlier.
Oh, yeah, Wanda Sykes.
Yeah, Syke. So, she played those two.
Mm-hmm.
Here is a woman. This will be our second woman of the show on the right, because we played Laura Ingraham. Very strong, very positive, very good woman.
We love women here.
Not only that, but this is an award-winning, first-time female ever in all of history to successfully run a presidential campaign in America.
But we're just treating these adolescents and these millennials like precious snowflakes. I'm just amazed how many texts and emails I'm receiving as one person of all these professors saying you don't have to take the test, you can get college credit if you protest. What's the worst thing that can happen to these millennials? That Donald Trump will make good on his promise to create 25 million new jobs, that he'll unleash energy investment, that he'll get rid of the Obamacare penalty on day one so that you're not forced to buy government-run health care. I mean, what is the worst thing that can happen to them? That millions of Americans currently in poverty and without health insurance will actually do it? Get it?
So, do you hear the positiveness of what she's saying? She's talking about what can be done. The left talks about what either can't be done or stop doing what you're doing.
Or shouldn't be done.
Shouldn't be done.
Like
Don't do it. Don't talk about it. What you're doing's wrong. Yet on the right, it's all about what we can do. It come together as a unit of people, as a team called the Team America, if you will. If you will. Come together as a team and make things possible, make America great again. What's the problem?
I kind of subscribe to the Rush Limbaugh version, which is we need to defeat leftists wherever. We don't unify with them. We don't concede to them. We don't compromise with them. We just defeat them everywhere we find them. And it's not about them personally. It's not about defeating another person.
Ideology.
It's their ideology, yeah. You have to defeat their ideas because their ideas are toxic. And they're
listen to Wanda Sykes. Yeah. Listen to Lena Dunham. They're both just despicable.
Wait, Brian, how could you not know that he's a misogynist? How could you not know that he is a racist? That's the questions. If you're just joining us, that was the questions Wanda Sykes got booed off the stage for.
It's out there, though. It's out there, Carrie. It's out there. That's what she kept saying. She kept saying, it's a fact. It's a fact.
The reason she can't belt off actual examples is because there aren't actual examples. There's some fake ones out there that you might be able to mention. Well, he said grab women. He advocated for the sexual assault of women. No. Actually, if you listen to the whole thing, when guys talk, locker room talk, you're not advocating for assaulting a woman, and you're not admitting that you've done it. You're just trying to make somebody laugh.
That's disgusting. Locker room talk? That's just disgusting.
By the way, locker room, I mean, it can't be exclusive to one gender anymore.
No.
Anybody could go in those.
Yeah. I fear for the girls who make that choice to go into the men's locker room. You will be appalled.
Why would they want to?
To
be honest with you, the reason there's separate men's and women's is because women need some safety.
Correct. Green light. Yes. There is a friend of an acquaintance that we know that moved to Texas with her husband and family, and she was a staunch supporter of Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
And her husband voted for Trump.
Oh.
And I said, well, that's great. They canceled each other out. That's good.
Yeah.
At least one on
But in Texas, it's irrelevant.
Right. She moved from New York, which was good. So anyways, my whole point is she is the person that would say, well, I'll go in the men's locker room. And those individuals, those really loony women that are what does Rush call them? The
feminazis?
Yeah, the feminazis. And so Joseph Watson did a rant on feminazis. I don't have the whole rant because it was cut in pieces, but this is basically what he called feminazis.
Swamp donkeys.
That's the summary of the whole thing. That's the
8-minute clip. All you need to know for the 8-minute clip is
swamp donkeys.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
So if you think about it, donkeys being the liberals, the liberal symbol, the theme.
Where did the donkeys thing come from? Okay, that is their mascot, if you will.
And so they are
they're jackasses, pretty much.
Correct.
Total, complete jackasses.
Yes. With the long ears, and in Spanish they refer to that as burro.
But how do you say bull?
Bull?
What? I thought burro was a bull.
No, a burro.
Burro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost like a burrito, but not.
All right. I'll take your word
Donkey.
for it. Because I don't know much about Spanish. So anyway.
We got a couple other things on the plate, on the table. I got Rand Paul talking about Trump and Russia, by the way.
Okay.
I've got Lou Dobbs talks a little bit about the cities trying to stay sanctuary cities versus Trump saying, I don't think so.
Yeah, let's talk sanctuary cities for a minute. You got a soundbite for it?
I got a 27-second clip from Lou Dobbs talking about sanctuary cities and what is going. It's literally Lou saying to Trump, like Lou is talking to Trump. Hey, this is what's coming.
You should be listening to me. You should be listening to me.
He probably does. Lou's awesome.
I'm sure.
Portland's new mayor-elect joining 7 other cities, however, across the country, vowing to remain a sanctuary city for illegal immigrants, despite President-elect Trump's historic win. The Democratic mayors of Chicago, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, New York, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Seattle, all have come out in recent days to say they will do all they can to protect illegal immigrants from deportation.
What's your feeling on that?
Well, I don't know what a president of the United States, federal government, can do to a city whose mayor decides that we are going to.
I'll tell you what it can do.
Not enforce any kind of federal.
It's the same thing the federal government did by mandating speed limit signs across the country, mandating 21 years old to drink alcohol.
Interesting. Okay.
Countrywide.
But then what happens if you break that law? Okay,
you know what, here's what the federal government did.
Well, let me give you an example. Let's say the federal government says, Texas, you must adhere to 55 mile an hour speed limit, even though I know you want to go 80. And
180.
Okay.
Texas is big. They go big, go fast.
And they're flat. Yes. A lot of it's flat, right? So, you could probably do that easily. 180 easily. You have a big enough engine. I know the semis will have trouble. Okay, so
give them their own road.
Let's say Texas says, well, you know what? We're not going to enforce that at all, and that's it. What does the federal government do?
You know all that money we give you? Yeah, you ain't getting it. All that money, federal money for roads.
Why is the federal government giving states money?
Why is the federal? They are stealing the money from other states and redistributing it to others.
We had a show all about this way back in the day.
The states, if you look at each state as an individual person, each state is on welfare. And it's being
all
redistributed from other states.
Yeah, so basically they overtax all the states through federal income taxes. And then they redistribute that in the form of programs to states that they feel need it.
And probably a big reason why they are advocating to keep sanctuary cities, and this is speculation, but it's probably not too far from truth, is that these cities receive massive amounts of federal government dollars for programs for illegals. I mean, think about it.
So they're actually losing money because of the programs.
Well, they're in that mindset that if we do for ourselves, we'll make less than if we actually stay on the teat of the federal government. So we'll make more money from the federal government than us actually implementing some type of capitalist system and remove this liberal socialist policies that we have in place. So here are the cities real quick. We'll go through them. Miami.
Okay.
Miami, they got a lot of immigrants in Miami. Washington, D.C.
Of course.
An absolute cesspool. And I'm not making fun of or talking about people that live there or the immigrants. I'm actually talking about the politicians that live there. Baltimore, Maryland. I was in Baltimore for about a half a year one time in the Air Force. And Baltimore back in the 90s, literally a half dozen murders a day in Baltimore. Baltimore is bad, real bad. Then you got New York City, kind of a rough city. Detroit. I'm not shocked about Detroit. Detroit has pretty much imploded. Democrats have destroyed that city. Chicago. There's a shocker. Rahm Emanuel, good job. Good job, man. You really destroyed that city along with your good buddy Barack Obama. Minneapolis, the only thing I can think about Minneapolis is all the Muslims that are up there.
Okay.
There are a lot of Muslims in Indianapolis. Dallas, Austin, Houston, a lot of Hispanics. Denver.
I'm really shocked at how many sanctuary cities there are.
Right.
Some of them are obvious, like your Los Angeles, San Francisco's, and stuff
San
like
Diego, L.A., San Fran. Phoenix, I can see that. Phoenix is huge labor force of illegals, whether it be for construction or for crops. I don't know if they do crops. Probably pretty much construction. Portland and Seattle, both. These are all socialist, liberal-run cities, all of them.
Reince Priebus had something to say about it. You want to hear it?
Yep.
Oh, we got a commercial.
How is that possible? So as we navigate through that, I'm just, again, liberals have destroyed a lot of these cities that were thriving, bustling cities, and now with their policies, their socialist policies, they're just absolutely destroying them one after another. It's unconscionable. So these are the ideologies that we talk about, that we have to fight the liberals at every turn, at every corner. And good old Reince.
Oh, if I can get it to the beginning here.
Somebody made a comment about Reince Priebus and Donald Trump. That's the position of keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. He doesn't need to do that. So Reince Priebus is talking to Jake Tapper, who is the corruption.
I can't even begin to talk about Jake Tapper without my blood pressure going up.
Let's see what they got.
The city of Los Angeles is home to about 500,000 undocumented immigrants. The chief of the Los Angeles Police Department said that he will not cooperate with federal agents when it comes to deporting them. Now, Mr. Trump has promised to, quote, cancel all federal funding to sanctuary cities. The city of Los Angeles got $500 million from the federal government last year. Will that money be cut? And when will that happen? Day one?
Well, that's something for the new administration to decide, and something that we're all going to be working on and looking into. But I will say, as a general matter, I totally agree that sanctuary cities, I mean, the idea that a city would decide to ignore federal law and then want the federal government to help them anyway is an inconsistent position for those local governments to continue to engage in. And so I think this is a matter of negotiation. I think it's something that the Trump administration, myself and others included that are at the appropriate levels of government, will deal with. But certainly I can't imagine that too many Americans are watching this and thinking that it's a good idea for a city to allow for blanket amnesty, ignoring federal law, and then saying, now give me $500 million. No, that's not the way life works. And I think that our Trump administration is going to explore this issue and, I think, resolve some of these major problems happening all across the country.
Well, okay, that feeds into what I was saying before. Absolutely. These cities, it's unfortunate these cities are beholden to the federal government. When Obama was running it, he was running the cities into the ground. However, shoe on the other foot, Trump has leverage to get these cities to get in line, to behave themselves. I just hope that when that's done, that there'll never be a separation of federal and state anymore. It's gone way too far. It's way too far.
Yeah, I just it's a shame. I'm torn about it. It really irritates me to know that I have to go against my principles of not having such a strong, big, oppressive federal government, a centralized government, oppressing the rights of states, the rights of cities, the rights of individuals, the communities, and all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, I think that something should be done about cities who, what they're doing by allowing a sanctuary city is at the expense of the entire country, not just the individuals who have to live here, citizens, American citizens, but just we know what the consequences are of illegal immigration, right?
Well, yeah, you have innocent Americans being shot in the face and the head on the boardwalk while enjoying a sunny, beautiful day in San Francisco with your father. And he gets to hold you as that your brains are blowed out your head.
But you know what? I'll play devil's advocate. What liberals, or I should say advocates of illegal immigration would say is, well, there's just as many murderers that are citizens as non-citizens. So the odds of you getting shot in the head are about the same, regardless of whether there's illegal immigration or not.
Right, and just like and this Sam Keel's great listener has also made a point. Just like Obama went after Sheriff Arpaio in Arizona for following the law.
Right,
he followed the law. He did what he's supposed to do, and he made the comment that if the federal government isn't going to protect our citizens from people breaking federal law, I'm going to do it.
Well, and even more generally, if there's a threat to the American people by foreign peoples, the federal government, I believe, is constitutionally required to do something about it.
Right. So Obama broke the federal statutes as well. I mean, he just does it every day, on and on. But Sam says AG should go after leadership of that city for breaking federal law.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah.
The attorneys general, Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder. Who did they go after? I mean, they just... You talk about some bullies.
Wouldn't it be illegal for a mayor to say, oh, yeah, you can do things here that are against federal law?
Something else that needs to be amended in the federal law as we go along that route. Weed.
Okay.
Marijuana.
I have a very libertarian view of
cool.
weed.
I'm cool with weed. I mean,
especially since I landscape and it's plants.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about landscaping weed.
Well, it's a plant.
Right.
I'm saying, I mean, when you landscape, you deal with plants and all day and all different kinds of plants, and it just seems silly.
Well,
if you look at everything on Earth, plants, animals, all living things, as God's creation.
Okay, and I don't want to get off track here, but the whole point is that states that are legalizing marijuana under the federal law. Technically, federal law says it's illegal. The feds can come into your house and arrest you for breaking federal law, while the state you live in says it's okay, you can have weed.
Right. You just got to tell them, hey, just watch out for the feds.
Right. And now Colorado has voted in recreational marijuana at the bar.
Which is going to obviously be something that a federal agent would totally be able to raid a bar, not just kick in the door and arrest the person that's smoking weed in the bar, but probably shut the whole thing down, right?
Right.
And maybe even arrest the owners and all kinds of stuff.
Well, and what about illegals? And Sam Keels wrote up harboring federal fugitive, a.k.a. illegal alien. You would, as a city, sanctuary city, be harboring a fugitive from the federal government.
Well, it depends on if you're hiding them. I guess by saying that you're allowed to come here and we won't prosecute you, you become harboring them once you find them. Let's say you pulled them over for a traffic stop and you ran them and said, oh, this is an illegal alien. Well, I'll give them a speeding ticket, but I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to let them stay here. That's when you have, at that point, you've harbored a fugitive.
Okay, well, what about Hillary Clinton when she was doing her rallies, the small rallies? And she would have, the DNC brought those illegals out on stage. I'm an illegal. Hillary brought me here so I could speak to you. Thank you,
yeah.
Hillary.
the ATF should have come, or the SWAT team should have ran up on stage right at that moment.
How do you not?
That would have been hilarious.
How do you not?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, it's really sad that we can't have states. There's states that would like abortion to be totally illegal. What if they just started saying, okay, I know that Roe v. Wade.
They did. Texas did. Attempted that. And Obama got involved. Federal government shut it down. It said it's unconstitutional for you to require. Well, they
or to tell all women in your state that when you come and ask for abortion, we will tell you no, because we are not allowing any abortion in our state.
Right. But here's the thing, though. They went it a roundabout way by making it mandatory that any doctor that performs an abortion must be a doctor, and he must be within 2 miles of an emergency room.
Oh, right.
In case you have an emergency situation.
Absolutely.
You got a patient dying, get him to the emergency room. And that doctor...
You're delivering a baby that from a woman. Delivering a dead baby.
And that doctor performing that must be accredited at that hospital. Like, he must be allowed, like...
so they're making it a lot more difficult by putting in, I guess you would call them regulations.
Safety rules.
Regulations.
Parachute.
Parachute? What?
Yeah, you jump out of an airplane.
Yeah.
Have parachute. Safety.
Is that mandatory?
If you want to live.
But what if... I don't know. I'm going into the weeds here. What I'm saying is yeah, no, I agree 100%. I guess. I mean, why don't they just make it so that the states can decide whether or not they want to make it legal or illegal? Here's my problem with allowing for illegal immigrants. You're talking about foreign people that may or may not have the best interest in. It's a national security issue. Letting a state thwart federal law by allowing people to smoke, grow, sell weed in their state is really not at all in any way, shape, or form a national security threat. And allowing a state to tell all women who seek an abortion that they're not allowed to have one in this state is not a national security issue.
Correct.
Allowing foreign people to just mingle around within its citizenry in a state is a national security issue, not just for that state, because they're going to cross the borders from that state into other states.
Well, not only that, but they're not protected under the Constitution. They're not protected under any of our rights as Americans. And technically, if they cross the border to wreak havoc, depending on if they're with ISIS or a combatant, they could be held as POW.
Right. If we're at war with whatever country they're coming from. I mean, if we were during World War II, if a German national was found inside the American border, they would be held as a enemy captive.
Right.
Flat out.
Yeah, definitely. And then lastly, I guess if we're talking about foreign nationals, that Russia has popped up in the news recently, and that's because Hillary literally was about ready to start World War III with Russia.
Right during the election.
Correct. Yeah. And so
with the help of Obama, they all want to start World War III with Russia.
I am beside myself with the fact that Obama, Hillary, and did you know Bush also friends with the Saudis, Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia is a terrorist.
Oh, absolutely.
Fledged, full-blown terrorist state.
For all you 9/11 truthers, which I'm still not on board with that conspiracy, there's a lot of credibility coming your way when we found out that it is a fact that Saudi Arabia, I thought it was, that's just a bunch of tinfoil hat stuff. It has been proven, and I'm not by the way, I am not a 9/11 truther at all. I believe that terrorists boarded planes in Boston and wherever else those planes flew out from, and flew planes into where the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and wherever the fourth one was trying to go.
Yeah, and landed in the field in
those people were trained and directed by Muslims in the Middle East to come over here to do that. I do believe that bin Laden was probably the mastermind behind it and all that stuff. I believe all that. I don't believe the truthers. However, it's been proven
Where did they get their money? Where did they get their money?
Saudi Arabia not only funded it, but possibly the royal family or people involved with that, possibly princes or whatever in Saudi Arabia, ordered that.
Right.
Funded, ordered, and it was all part of a master plan that goes all the way to the Saudi Arabian government. So for the Bushes to sit there and make war with other people to defend Saudi Arabia is just treasonous like you wouldn't believe. There's one thing that I got more emotional about with regards to patriotism of, in defense of America. It's got to be 9/11. I mean, I was 25 years old. I had just recently gotten out of active duty in the Marine Corps. I was still on inactive reserves at the time. I was ready to jump on a plane and go straight back into the Marines to go fight whoever it was that was responsible for 9/11. And to find out that all of our leaders, all of them, all the progressives, all the corrupt leaders, the rhinos, the people who are in the swamp that we're trying to drain,
yes,
are allies with the very people who funded and ordered this to happen, is pretty disgusting.
And
they're traitors.
And to let you know, look at what Hillary Clinton did with Saudi Arabia. Just that in itself. She's dirty, she's rotten, she's at the bottom of the barrel, and she's being funded. 20 to 30% of her campaign was funded by Saudi Arabia. Go on Netflix and watch the documentary, Saudi Arabia Uncovered. It is a phenomenal documentary. They had to sneak in cameras. They had to sneak in cell phones. All this stuff is illegal. They filmed what was referred to as Chop Chop Square. This is in the center this is Saudi Arabia. In the center of town, huge, couple football fields large, giant area of brick and steel drains throughout this brick field called Chop Chop Square, where they literally hold public beheadings on a regular basis.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia, this is the big myth in low information America, that Iran is this big, evil, terrorist place, which it may or may not be. I think it is. We get that back from during the hostage crisis with Jimmy Carter and all that kind of stuff. And that's fine. They are. But that Saudi Arabia is like just, they're good guys. They're our allies. They're good. You can go there. Those people are friendly. You tell them you're American, you're good to go.
You can't vacation there.
I never knew that until you told me.
Cannot,
you told me that.
You cannot vacation in Saudi Arabia. You will be turned away. I don't even know if you could buy a ticket to get there.
And so there is no more friendliness towards Americans in Saudi Arabia than there is in Iran or any other of the most enemy. I mean, Cuba, maybe not now, but before Obama made friends with Cuba, you'd probably be more welcome in Cuba than you would be in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And the reason why we're bringing all this up, this is who the Clintons, the Bushes, the Obamas, that's who they're in bed with.
Absolutely. 100%.
And these guys are against fighting, and they're against Assad in Syria and Russia. That's the two sides. You've got Saudi Arabia, ISIS terrorist Hillary. You've got Russia, Assad in Syria. Now, I'm not saying Assad's a good guy. I'm not saying that at all.
And I don't think Russia thinks he's a good guy.
However, I don't think Saddam Hussein was a good guy at all either. And certainly Muammar Gaddafi in Libya was not a good guy. But those guys kept their people in line.
They were put in place. We're talking about rigging elections and putting people in power outside of the influence of the public, which is what we kind of uncovered with the WikiLeaks and the rigging of elections and all that kind of stuff. That is what they did in order to get everybody in power in the Middle East, right?
Right.
And those were the people that were keeping Islam at bay. And now that whole thing is cracked. They're going to have a caliphate. They're going to have one giant Sharia country, kind of like, imagine the Ottoman Empire. But my dad informed me that they were actually tolerant of people there that were of a religion that wasn't Islam, any other religion.
That's shocking.
Yeah, he said they were tolerant of that people that weren't Muslim can go there in the Ottoman Empire.
Because now there is no toleration.
Now imagine an Ottoman Empire today that was completely intolerant of any religion other than Islam and with imperialist tendencies of wanting to spread.
Right.
That's kind of what we're looking at.
Well, and Trump said this during the debates, and it still holds true to this day. I mean, it hasn't changed unless it's grown more. When Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, there was no such thing as ISIS. I remember we followed this. We followed the development of ISIS. We let y'all know how this was.
We were on the air when this went. If you've been listening to us from day one, you will know that we were right there talking about this from the beginning.
And this whole Obama to this day still refers to it as ISIL, which is insanity. But Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, there was no such thing as ISIS or ISIL. Now they're in 38 countries. ISIS, born, the founder of ISIS, Hillary, 38 countries. Okay, so now you've got Russia trying to stamp this out. Russia vocalizes their intentions by saying ISIS is some really, really bad people. They're killing Christians. They're killing innocent people. And I think as a government, as a Russian government, whether his intentions are to unite the USSR again or not, take over other countries or not, he doesn't want innocent people being murdered and killed. And if you were a government wanting more money or to be successful or to be prosperous, you would want your people to not be killed off by terrorists.
Right.
You would want your people to feel secure, feel safe, and know that they can live their life and make their money and pay the taxes.
It's like the basic function of the federal government.
Right. So I'm just speaking. This is probably this is what I'm thinking. If I was Putin, this is what I'd be thinking. That we need to stop this ISIS thing because it is in their backyard. ISIS is in Russia's backyard. They want to stomp this out and end it. And so does Trump. And I'm beside myself with Hillary's notion and the things that she would do and implement would have caused a World War III. And so Rand Paul is on MSNBC. The talking head, she lobs a question with her opinion.
Of course.
You know how they do.
It's called a false premise.
Right.
They love that.
Right. So she lobs one at Rand Paul. And so Rand Paul kind of opens up. And for all intents and purposes, Rand Paul did a couple of things, or did at least one thing that we didn't like.
The big thing that we didn't like that he did, just to set this up. Well, and I like his ideology in general and all that kind of stuff. But, it's hard to say that you're really truly for constitutional conservative values when you got a constitutional conservative running against Mitch McConnell, who's
by the way, a Democrat.
For the most part.
Right.
Might as well. De facto Democrat. De facto progressive.
And he is mentally disturbed, they say. They say that
totally
he has
that.
He's in dementia.
He looks like Cecil the Turtle from the Bugs Bunny.
Correct. He has dementia and he's not all with it.
Right. And so Matt Bevins was running against him, and everybody wanted to know if Rand Paul was going to endorse Matt Bevins since he was the real true conservative. And at the very last, at the 12th hour, 11th hour, he endorsed Mitch McConnell and told everybody to vote for Mitch McConnell.
And so that's why you see Rand Paul kind of a little bit stagnant, hasn't really progressed much. I mean, he's just there, but he used to be this big voice. But anyways, he's turned the corner. Listen to what he has to say about Trump, Russia, and Hillary.
Ask you about Russia. The conservative think tank, the Heritage Group, came out yesterday and said that Russia was trying to maximize its strategic position around the world at the expense of the United States. I'm all in favor of having better relations with Russia, but I think they should be on our terms. What are your thoughts?
I would say this, is I think Trump will negotiate from a position of strength with Russia, but I think Trump is a realist in the sense that he understands that Russia's had a base for 50 years in Syria. They're not going away. If there's a way we can work together on some issues such as terrorism, we ought to. And I think that we've had some naive sort of utopians that believe, oh, we're going to push Russia out of the Middle East and we're going to bop them in the nose and we're going to have a no-fly zone. Hillary Clinton's advocacy for a no-fly zone was ridiculous on the face of it, but also so bellicose that it threatened to start World War III, and so were many of the Republicans. So I think that what you're going to find from Trump is that he will negotiate from a position of strength with Russia, but he's not going to automatically have unrealistic, utopian, and naive notions such as we're going to shoot their planes down. For goodness sakes, we went through 70 years, and what I think is funny is that all the calm, cool hands from, the State Department in the past who don't like Donald Trump, you know what? I think he's much more realistic than they are.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
He is a lot more realistic than any of them. And when he says, think about that, folks. Yeah, Russia's been there for a long time. They live there. This is their backyard. And for you to come across the pond and start dictating.
Well, the word he used was bellicose, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I went ahead and looked that up.
I knew a guy, bellicose. Oh, no, that was something.
Having or showing a tendency to argue or fight. And he was referring to Hillary Clinton and all those the Hillary Clinton supporters, the Obama
CNN,
administration,
MSM,
leftists, all that. That's who he was referring to. That is like the perfect word to describe the way they're acting. Just having a tendency to argue and fight.
Right.
And they're talking about with Russia.
Correct.
They're acting bellicose towards Russia.
And kit gloves, understanding, but when you have leadership, and see, that's the thing, they lack leadership. If you lack leadership, you must implement lots of rules, lots of regulations. You've got to throw the peacock feathers up to make yourself look good, and true leaders can see that a mile away. Putin, former KGB, all in, and it's amazing if you read his bio, his history. There was a hand, an invisible hand somewhere throughout his career guiding him through positions that were you just didn't get. It's amazing. And if you look at it, whether he deserved it or not, I don't know. Whether it was paid for or not, I don't know. But the way that he is respected by his people, the way he's respected around the world for being just kind of a badass. I mean, you put Obama and Putin together in the same room, and it's a joke. The world looks at it as a joke. It's this cool, muscle-bound dude with Pajama Boy, and it's
that pretty much sums it up.
Replace Pajama Boy with Trump, who is a proven leader.
Right.
You don't lose $1 billion and then get it all back and then some. Exponentially, if you will.
Right. Let's talk math real quick when it comes to success. Obviously making money and making a lot of money and turning small amounts of money into big money would be a measure of success, right?
Right.
Well, I was, everybody's like, oh, well, you're worth $10 billion, but you got $1 million loan from your dad. All right. All numbers aside, the big inflated numbers aside, let's talk about what it means to turn $1 million into $10 billion. Do you think that you could ever, in your lifetime, no matter how many times you try, if you had to do it over again like Groundhog's Day, over and over and over again, how often do you think you'd be able to turn $100? A $100 bill.
Okay. Because I can get that. I've got a $100 bill.
I could give it to you right now.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm going to what if I said, do with this what you will. Try to do as best you can with it.
$100 bill.
And you turn that into $1 million. Would that be pretty successful? Yes. That is the exact
number to
equivalent.
Number to
number. Math, all the math adds up. Turning $1 million into $10 billion is exactly the same thing as turning $100 into $1 million.
And so if you took $100 bill and bought lottery tickets and won $1 million, you'd be
you
there.
Would need Groundhog's Day to
you
make that happen. Oh my gosh, how many days did he repeat there? Seriously, could you imagine? Everybody thinks, turning $1 million into $1 billion or $10 billion. Well, just to make sure that you know, turning $1 into $10,000. All right, that's a pretty significant. $1 billion is $1 billion is 1,000 times more than 1 million. 10 billion is $10,000 more, 10,000 times more.
Right.
And $1 million is 10,000 times more than $100. So turning $100 into $1 million is what Trump did with his $1 million.
That's pretty phenomenal.
He turned it into $10 billion, which is equivalent.
So when you talk about, I mean, how do you as a foreign leader not look at that and say, wow?
And by the way, he did it conservatively. And what I mean by that, financially conservative.
Over a lifetime.
Yeah, he invested in hundreds and hundreds of businesses and different projects and stuff like that. They say he did 600 companies, or he was involved in 600 companies.
Five. I think it was total of five. Four
or five went bankrupt.
Right.
Which means he has a better than 99% success rate.
The entrepreneurs look at that and say, I got to get that formula.
Right. Now, this is different than Mark Cuban. I want to go ahead and beat up on him a little bit. What Mark Cuban did was the equivalent of
taking the $100 down to the liquor store
and buying a lottery ticket and winning. Let's say he won it and won $1 million with his $100 worth of tickets.
Right.
And then going around the world saying how smart he was for being able to pick those numbers. Literally.
So that's why he's a lib. That's why he's a liberal. Liberals do that. They kind of liberals in Hollywood.
He doesn't he's an idiot.
Hollywood.
He's not a liberal. He's an idiot.
He's an idiot.
Yeah.
So, and these Hollywood elites, they are the ones who bought the lottery ticket. The right one. I am telling you, you've got to believe me. The ones that are multimillionaires in Hollywood, they use their money to convince themselves and everybody else that they really are worth what they're worth.
Like they earn that because of how smart they are. Like your Matt Damon's, if you will. And what's his name? His buddy. Affleck. Affleck. Wait, have you ever heard an interview with these guys? Especially Affleck. He thinks he is a genius. They made that movie, Good Will Hunting.
Right.
Because this is what they wished was them.
Right.
They were like, I know it's not my biography, but if I had a genie in a bottle, this would be my biography.
Genie.
And then after a while, they started to believe it. They're like, well, maybe I am the genius that I made myself out to be in Good Will Hunting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just sad.
So can we break new ground here on Smith Radio?
Okay. If you want.
Can we work on, I don't know if we could do it 100%, but unless something is really absolute nail biter, can we make this show the last time we ever actually play a soundbite of this?
I know many of you are deeply disappointed about the results of the election. I am too, more than I can ever express.
Can we make that the last time we ever play her voice?
You want that to be it? It depends. You know what they're saying about her, don't you? That she's moving on to she's gonna make a comeback.
Did you see that interview this week?
Between her and who?
Oh, she came out for the first time in public and spoke to the public for the first time since the election.
I did not watch it, but I know what you're referring to.
Okay, you might have seen some of the still frame pictures.
Oh, you
There's
mean
a lot
the
of
one
gifs?
where she obviously was photoshopped? Somebody obviously made her look like
dude.
she's like it's Halloween.
No, dude, no.
Like they added wrinkles.
Dude, she needed a shower.
No,
She was on a 7 to 8, 9. What is 9 days? 9-day bender. They said the night of the election she was drunk.
Well, that we know she's an alcoholic
and got so violent. They said they had to hit her with a tranquilizer.
Oh yeah, I did hear that she started beating on Mook.
Yeah,
Robbie boy.
Right,
started physically assaulting him.
Right, and she had to be tranquilized like a hippo.
Oh man, I was gonna throw a random animal out there, but I cow.
Well, you don't have to trank a cow. I mean, you can kind of push that over.
I guess. No, mad cow disease. You got
to trank that.
Yeah.
This is just to give you a little bit of insight on hippos, and I'm not saying because
they could kill you
because of the weight alone, but you know. The only animal in the world that can live with crocodiles or alligators.
Oh, yeah. I mean, crocodile's not going to be able to.
It's a hippo.
Right. I mean.
And they are vicious.
Yeah, I heard that you don't want to be in the pen with a hippo. They could kill you.
No, they're vicious. Absolutely. So there you go. You got hungry hippos. You got Hillary Clinton beating on Mookie, and she looked like death warmed over. I took and made did a meme with the Grim Reaper, saying, "Yep, it's hand in hand. We're leaving." Wow. I don't know how she's making it come. She is seriously ill. She has major health issues.
Right. Well, there are some people this week that said that, listen, her MO is to seek out and try to achieve power wherever she can find it. And so she's not going to stop until she's put in her grave. She's just going to keep on trying to, by hook or crook, achieve wealth and power every way she can. Well, she can't just retire.
I mean, she can still keep spreading the communist...
She's incapable. No, it's not. Here's another thing. She doesn't want to make the world communist for the sake of communism.
She wants the power.
She wants to make the world communist so that she can benefit from it. And without being the president, that's a big setback for her. But she's not going to go around and espouse communism because she thinks it's a great way for everybody to live their lives, for her children and grandchildren. Unless she thinks that Chelsea could directly benefit from it, then maybe she will just go around.
Well, when you have communism, dictatorship type of situation, the family stays in power for the most part.
And Chelsea obviously pulls the lever, or I should say toes the line for that. So she's like a CNN analyst. Didn't she get? She got like a multi-million-dollar contract
for a minute
without having any. Her resume was a blank sheet of paper.
Well, just like her mom.
Well, I guess you could write, "My daddy is president."
Just like her mom.
I lived in the White House.
Just like her mom.
Yeah, that's pretty much her resume. That's sad, but it's absolutely true.
And I know you got this thing about Tucker Carlson.
Cucker
Carlson?
Yeah, Cucker Tarlson.
Yeah, Cucker Tarlson. I know you got this thing about Tucker.
But he's coming around.
I like Tucker, man.
Yeah, he's coming around. You know what? He's seeing the success of Lou Dobbs, Sean Hannity, and who is there anybody else? I'm talking mainstream people who never were against Trump. That just
Varney and company.
Varney.
Okay.
Stuart Varney.
Yeah.
He's always been like, hey, Trump's the thing.
It's all about capitalism. It's all about freedom, free government, or free. Well,
it turns out that Cucker Tarlson has been kind of in that camp too, and I think that he should reap the benefits of being right for once in his life. Because he was kind of a cuck before.
So did you hear what Tucker's getting?
What he's getting?
Yeah.
No.
Greta Van Susteren said, peace out, folks. I'm out of here.
Okay.
Tucker's taking her job. He's getting that time slot as a show.
Greta got shafted, though, didn't she? Didn't she get fired?
No, she was it's not like she got schlonged or something from like Hillary. Hillary got beat.
But she was like the 5 o'clock spot or whatever.
And she walked, I was led to believe she walked away from it. She's like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. Sorry if I misrepresented that. I think you're right.
And I think it had to do with the whole shakeup of Fox News back during the debates.
Yeah.
She was done with the inside backbiting.
Pillow biting.
Wow.
Oh, we're so bad here.
Wow, so here's Tucker.
Well, longtime civil rights guy Jesse Jackson weighed in on Hillary Clinton's legal troubles in a very passive-aggressive way today. Watch this.
President Obama should follow President Ford's example and offer a preemptive full pardon and inoculation against politically motivated prosecution in the spirit of healing the divisions in our country. To do otherwise will only exacerbate the divisions and hardened feelings on both sides. It would be a monumental moral and political mistake to pursue the prosecution of Hillary Clinton.
So a blanket pardon would get Mrs. Clinton off the hook if she winds up facing any charges or jail time. But of course, she denies she's done anything wrong. So to see one of her presumed allies out there saying, pardon her, might be a mixed blessing. Okay.
Because you only pardon the guilty.
Right. I think he's admitting, oh, yeah, she's totally guilty. And clearly, if she has to face the music, it's going to be loud. It's going to be bad. It's going to be that she will probably end up being disbarred. She'll probably end up being a felon. She probably won't face any jail time, but it will be commuted or whatever. I don't know, whatever they do. And so he doesn't want to see that.
What is it? What is it with the pardons? What is it with the power of the president to pardon
They're above the law.
Criminals?
It's one of them things where they know that the people are not going to tolerate them not facing justice.
Right.
So they're like, all right, well, we got to go through the motions with this, but in the meantime, let's go ahead and pardon her so she doesn't actually have to face justice, because that's not what we do. We don't face justice. We're the power elite. We're above the law. I'll tell you what, man, I was in the presence of somebody that had a lot of power. He knew the people.
Right, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, and it was scary because it was just speeding tickets. It's just speeding tickets.
Innocent speeding tickets, no big deal.
But when you stop and think about it, when you don't have to, when you're living a life where you know that you do not have to adhere to the laws of the highway.
And if you do get a ticket, you do get pulled over, be politely and nice about it. And
you get your ticket, and then you call up your buddy, and then they are like, all right, I'll swipe that away.
It's erased.
It's erased because, oh, you got one? Oh, okay. Not Joe Q Public. If he got one, he don't even know my number. But if he would ever call me, I'd be like, hey, let's go and tell the judge.
Speaking about that, back in the day when I was a kid, I first got my checking account. I know you don't write checks anymore, but back in the day, you used to write a check for stuff.
Okay.
A check bounced, like there wasn't enough money in there. You get that $25 service fee or whatever. Well, I had a friend that worked at a bank, family member. And she told me, she said, don't pay that. Just call them up and ask them. Just say, hey, I'm sorry, and ask them to undo that.
Right.
And they can undo it by just flipping a switch. No big deal whatsoever.
Yeah, you just call them up, right?
So I felt like I had insight. Like I was cheating. I was breaking the law, but I was getting away with it.
Well, it's not really a law, but I see what you're saying.
So I had that feeling once before. But, these pardons for real criminals. I mean, the child sex ring is coming out. It's nonstop with the Clintons, nonstop with the political elites. It's more and more and more. I'm not sure who it was, but not Cernovich, but one of the other guys said that they were going to go down and have have pizza down in D.C. this weekend. And apparently, pizza is referred to this Pizza King, where the child ring is run through. This guy who has this pizza shop. Yes, it's code.
So where does Cernovich come in with?
It's not Cernovich, but it was one of those guys. One of the high guys up in Twitter, the guys that, you know.
So they were joking about it? Or what?
Apparently he was in D.C. and he said he was going to swing by.
Okay.
See what's up with that.
So what do you order? Extra anchovies like Loverboy? You remember that movie? You order extra anchovies and you get a little extra.
Oh man!
Do you remember that movie, right?
Yeah.
That's a blast from the past. That had Carrie Fisher in it.
Yeah, new guy in town gives his local guy say, "Hey man, where can I get some action? I'll go down to Mike's Pub and ask for a game of billiards." He said, "Game of billiards? Will they know what I'm talking about?" "Yeah, man. They took the pool table out 20 years ago."
Oh, what was that from?
It's a joke.
Oh, wow.
Asked for a game of billiards. The pool tables been gone for 20 years.
What about Spies Like Us? Why don't you guys go in and have a Pepsi? That was the code
Pepsi,
for
right.
And when they pulled the Pepsi lever, they went down into the dungeon or whatever, the bunkers, what it was.
Maybe there's $100 bill in there, or maybe there's not.
Yeah, right. Oh man, the corruption's unbelievable. Yeah, you should go see Loverboy because that would make sense. Basically was a prostitution ring where the guy, it was a boy, he was like, it was his summer job. He was delivering pizza.
Right.
And apparently all these older MILFs that were like, they were married.
Middle-aged women.
Middle-aged
30s
women.
and 40s, yeah.
And the husband was away to work. And they could order
pizza.
Like 10 pizzas that were in 10 different locations all at once. And so the pizza place thought that he was gone all day delivering pizzas. But actually, he went to the lady's house with the extra anchovies.
Making some money on the side.
And that's where he would go and be a prostitute.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what the movie was about. And who's Dr. McDreamy? That's who the boy was.
Oh, wow.
The doctor, the Doc McDreamy, whatever his name was. I don't know what his name is. You women out there would know who I'm talking about. But he was only like a teenager at the time, and he was the boy in it. What's his name? You got it up there? Dr. McDreamy?
No.
You don't? Come on. Oh, my gosh. Anyway.
And the reason why we brought this up and the reason why we're talking about this is because the politicians up in D.C., it's a cesspool of cessness.
Oh, Derek Shepherd.
Yeah, that's it.
Derek Shepherd is the guy that played the male prostitute.
It's referred to as a gigolo.
Oh, gigolo. Okay.
Deuce Bigelow.
But he was getting paid for it. Is that
Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo.
But was he a prostitute? Was he getting paid?
Deuce Bigelow?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I thought gigolo meant that you just get around.
No. You making the money.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's a gigolo then.
Deuce Gigolo. Deuce.
I don't know.
That sounds like a Woody Allen movie.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Do not watch Woody Allen. I refuse to do it.
I can't. I
won't do it.
No, it's disgusting. Check this out real quick. MRC TV, very awesome news outlet. Some great folks. And that's something that we're going to continue to do here on Smith Radio is tell you about the news that's not fake news. These are the real people you need to listen to. Yeah. Listen to us, Smith Radio, Mike Cernovich, you got Bill Mitchell, you got Prison Planet.
Paul Joseph Watson, yep.
And let me tell you, I'm starting to warm up to InfoWars, to Alex Jones.
Well, Prison Planet, Paul Joseph Watson works for InfoWars. So,
right.
Yeah, there's that. And even like Niski, he's a channel on YouTube. Really good stuff there. There's actually several. What's the guy's name? Dice. Mark Dice. Mark Dice. Watch Mark Dice on.
He's really good.
That's his channel on YouTube.
And then a Canadian.
Oh yeah, Steven Crowder.
Yeah,
he's okay, but he's a never Trumper.
He's okay, but he was put down in bed with Ted Cruz. So check this out. Her name is Brittany Hughes, and she's. I've never seen her before. I've watched MRC all the time, and she looks like a new face. But This is her take on snowflakes and rioters. Take it away, Brittany.
Hey guys, I'm Brittany Hughes. You're watching MRC TV, and this is your reality check. Donald Trump won the presidential election on Tuesday night, and if you're bummed about the results, if you're fearful of what the next 4 years might bring, you are welcome to hop on the gravy train that millions of Americans have been riding on for the last 8 years. There's plenty of seats. But regardless of what you think about Trump, no matter how you feel heading into next year, let me make one thing very, very clear. Trump's victory was not because people flooded the polls in support of a candidate that they adored. Tuesday night was a bold, clear repudiation of the last 8 years of solid crap, plain and simple. But of course, that hasn't stopped every liberal pundit and analyst from blaming Trump's victory on Americans' supposed hatred of black people and women for the past 36 hours straight. Over at CNN, a very terrified Van Jones blamed the whole thing on a racist white lash against a black president.
This was a white lash. This was a white lash against a changing country. It was a white lash against a black president in part. And that's the part where the pain comes.
Andrea Mitchell complained about how sexist voters didn't help Clinton break the proverbial glass ceiling.
Late yesterday, her team was still optimistic that they would prevail. Instead, they are now planning a concession speech shortly this morning as history is put on hold yet again.
The New York Times whined that Trump was elected by misogynists who hate women. Yeah, because 30% of Hispanics, 13% of black men, and 45% of white, college-educated women voted for Trump because they hate Barack Obama's skin color and Hillary Clinton's anatomy. Because there is no other possible reason why anybody would have voted against the liberal line. It must be racism. It's always racism. Here's the deal. Since some people cannot get through their thick skulls, let me clear it up. This did not happen because Americans are sexist, racist bigots. Just maybe they were ticked off because nearly 2 million illegal aliens, not law-abiding immigrants, illegal aliens, came into this country unlawfully in the past 5 years alone. Maybe it's because a criminal alien can shoot an American citizen dead in broad daylight because of a sanctuary city policy that protected him over her, and our president doesn't seem to think that this is a problem. Maybe it's because Americans got a disastrous health care deal rammed down their throats and the whole thing is now falling apart. Thousands of people have lost health care plans that they already had, only to have them replaced with new health care plans that they didn't want, that their doctor didn't take, giving them coverage they didn't need at a price they couldn't afford. Maybe people are sick of being called homophobic, transphobic, xenophobic, racist, sexist, and patriarchal whenever they happen to disagree with some special snowflake who can't stand to have his feelings hurt. Maybe people got tired of watching America send millions in taxpayer funding to fight climate change while folks back in coal country lose their homes because they can no longer pay their mortgage. Maybe people want to keep their guns and stop killing babies. Maybe it's because we added another $10 trillion to the national debt and more than 13 million people to the food stamp program. Maybe people are sick of endless terror attacks and riots in the streets whenever Black Lives Matter gets pissed off about something. And maybe it's because people just didn't feel like signing up for another 4 years of the same tired, terrible progressive policies that have already screwed them over 6 ways to Sunday for the past 8 years. You don't have to agree with it, and you don't have to like it, but here's the thing. Facts and data, they don't really give a crap about your feelings. And that's your reality check, America. Stay sane out there. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, check out more on our YouTube page or at mrctv.org. And as always, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Awesome sauce.
This really and truly is.
Yeah. So she is on Twitter at Real Brit Hughes. So that's RealBritt. There's 2 T's in that. HUGHES. That's her actual Twitter handle. I would highly recommend following her because that was awesome. So anyway,
she's a cutie. She's a good-looking woman, very strong, opinionated, and obviously, oh my, she's smart.
Amazing.
Am I allowed to say that she's cute? Or is that's
ageist because it sounds like you're talking about child. And so
she's not a child.
She looks like a millennial.
She does, man.
Well, you know what? That's the only reason I follow her because she's a hottie. Just kidding.
Wow, we're never running for president ever again.
They're going to use this audio against us like you wouldn't believe.
You don't know, man. So yeah, MRC, a lot of great stuff. MRC on...
I never heard of MRC, so they actually have a Twitter handle. It's at MRCTV. So I'm going to go ahead and follow them too.
They also they put a lot of their videos up on Facebook because there's no time constraint. Really. I mean, you can put up a 5-minute video.
Media Research Center. That's
Twitter.
the one that Brent Bozell is kind of heading up.
Right, Brent Bozell.
He's the
very good.
He's the founder and president of the Media Research Center, which is MRC TV. There you go. Awesome.
So MRC, if you want to go ahead and advertise with it, do you just give us a call? Just drop a line. Anytime.
We are down like 4 flat tires. And you should too. You should follow them. I mean, I'm just now following them for the first time, so that's good on me. Good on me.
So we'll continue to bring you all these new outlets of media. A lot of millennials, they're all following, a lot of younger folks, they're all following news and information.
We're out of time.
On the internet. This is the internet world, internet new information everywhere.
This is the new media. This is the new truth. Follow us at Smith Radio and on Twitter. I mean, on Facebook, Smith Radio, SMYTH. Don't forget that Y. And we will see you guys next week when we talk to you about what Trump is going to do as president.
This is painful. And this really and truly hurts.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.